This conference will now be
Hello,
recorded.
everyone. Welcome. I don't think the sound is on.
Check.
Okay, is mine? Yes. Okay, wonderful. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this regular session of the Common Council of the City of Port Orford. It's Thursday, July 16th, and we are starting the meeting at 5 p.m. It's a little early this time, and it has to do with the fact that we have a public hearing and the notice went out. So anyway, thanks everybody for getting here a little early. Councillor Rask said she'll be here shortly. So we will begin with the call to the roll call. So here we go. Councillor Webb.
Webb present.
Councillor Lovendall.
Present.
Councillor Brennan.
Here.
Councillor Burns.
Present.
Councillor Pogwist.
Him here.
Okay, we also have with us Administrator Radcliffe and Recorder Harrison. And as I mentioned, Councillor Rask will be here shortly. Okay, so please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so we're going to start with a few things. The first item on the agenda is additions to the agenda. So I want to add, with everyone's consent, an item 9E, which is going to be, if you recall what we did last time, we have to produce minutes for the community development block grant hearing during this meeting because of deadlines. So if we could add a 9E, which is going to be to approve those minutes, we'll do that.
And that's to approve what we're sending.
It's to approve the minutes of the public hearing. So it's item 6 in this agenda. We're going to have a public hearing, and
Okay.
because of the deadline for the grant submission, we have to put that in.
Makes sense.
So it's a little bit of a rigmarole, but shouldn't be too hard. And then the other thing, as Melissa mentioned, we have to fix some page numbers. So if you go to the new business, or actually the old business part of the document, you'll see, yeah, the first page is page 17. The second page should be page 18 instead of 6. You see that?
So we
Okay.
don't know, it's a.
Almost.
Almost, we're close.
And
What is
then
this?
we're going to go through the rest of them. You go to the first page of new business, which says 9 new business, it should be 19. The next page, correcting wages, should be 20, and so on. Yeah. 21, 22. That's it. So just a couple. That will help us later not be confused. Okay. So any other items for the agenda? Okay, well then we will move on to the next item, which is citizen concerns. This is the time when we invite our citizens to come up and present concerns to council, items that are on the agenda, and there's a 3-minute limit. So does anybody in the audience want to come up? And please come up to the front, state your name, and proceed. Good to see you here, Clark.
It's good to see Clark.
Good evening, councilors, mayor, Administrator Radcliffe. My name is Clark Kasurik. I live at 92696 Knapp Road, and I'm grateful to you all for your dedication to public service and the opportunity to make a public comment. I spend a significant amount of my time in and around your lovely city of Port Orford, and I would like to express my support for item 9C on your agenda this evening, a resolution which would prohibit automated surveillance systems. Personally, I work in healthcare privacy and data governance compliance. I hold current certifications in cybersecurity from ISC Squared and US privacy compliance from the International Association of Privacy Professionals. Advocating for the privacy rights of Americans is an important part of what I do for a living, and I'm asking you to support the work of this resolution, which would preclude the adoption of flock cameras in the city with the recommendation that it be recommended to the voters should that option become preferable in the future. Privacy policy and security technology is always a balance between individual liberties and the public safety. In the matter of flock and other surveillance cameras, in my opinion, it's a bad trade. These automated license plate readers don't directly target suspects. They are a broad dragnet that logs every vehicle and builds a searchable database of when and where our residents and visitors go. That's mass surveillance of an entire town, which would give us limited options to address incidents that we can already handle in other ways. There are some open legal questions about these systems. Carpenter v. United States. Warrantless long-term location tracking can violate the Fourth Amendment. Whether or not these systems cross that line is actively being litigated in federal court, and this could lead the city to buy into an open constitutional liability if you were to adopt flock cameras. I think it's also important to note that the city would not control the system or the data that are in it. TechTimes.com reported that Flock has routed local data to federal agencies without the city's authorization. One city found more than 7,000 immigration searches that its own policy expressly forbade. Small city Port Orford, already operating at near maximum capacity, cannot realistically police the actions of such large corporations. That's why the backlash against these systems is bipartisan and nationwide. Between 2021 and 2026, 82 flock contracts were canceled across 28 states, 39 of the in the first 5 months of 2026 alone. The ACLU is running a national campaign against these systems. You may have also seen in the news reports of vandalism against these mass surveillance systems, and it's a good expression of the public distaste for the mass monitoring of otherwise law-abiding citizens. And it highlights the American penchant for freedom from Big Brother-style government overreach. Therefore, I ask you to support the effort to preclude the adoption of these systems in the city of Port Orford, and I thank you all for considering my input. I wish you all a very productive and pleasant meeting.
Thank you, Clark.
Thank you.
Do we have anybody else in the audience that would like to make a comment? Nope. Anybody else online that would like to make a citizen
I
comment?
am not seeing anybody online raising their hand or leaving a comment.
Okay, well then we will move on to the next item, which is the consent calendar, which tonight just has the minutes in it from our last meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second it.
We've got a first and a second. Any further discussion?
These are the minutes that we're going to be sending, right?
No,
No.
these are the minutes from the last meeting.
Oh, okay. Shoot.
The other minutes are going to be from items.
For this
6.
meeting.
This meeting. Just
Yeah.
one thing. Yeah,
Goofy.
it's a little confusing. Any further discussion? Nope. I got a first and second. I'll call for the vote. Counselor Brennan,
Yes.
Counselor Burns,
Yes,
Counselor Pogwizd,
Him, yes.
Counselor Webb,
Webb, yes.
Counselor Lovendall.
Yes.
Okay. Moving along, we have some presentations to council. Do we have Ben here yet?
We don't.
I'm not sure if any attendees are from his office though.
Do you want to, do we have anybody from Soren Financial Services here? Please unmute yourself. Is there any chance that they thought the meeting was at 5:30?
I sent him the reminder email and link.
Okay. Well, while we're waiting for him, I would propose that we invite our second presentation to come up. Ashley, would you come up and give your presentation about the need for the Life Jackets kiosk? Thank you for.
Mine's really short. Hello, everybody. My name is Ashley Moore, and I am a captain with Sixes Fire, and I'm also a SCAR team leader, which is our North Curry County Search and Rescue Unit. But I'm not here today in those roles, even though why I'm here was because I have those roles. So a couple of weeks ago, I think it's almost a week and a half now, we had a tragedy at not Edson Creek, at the Grange, where we had a young man drown. And afterwards, we always think, how would we have been better suited? How would we have had better resources? What could have made this better or easier for the rescuers or the individuals involved? And what came up was a life jacket loaner station. They do have one already at Flores Lake at their boat ramp. And so we are just as a community movement, putting together 3 of them. And one of them is going to be at I think it's 12th Street boat ramp at Garrison Lake. So already talked to ODF and W, and I didn't have time to forward you the email, but they are fully on board. They love the idea. They're kind of excited about it. We have 3 contractors that are going to put them in 3 different locations. So one will be there, and just an FYI, the other 2 will be at Edson Creek, and one right next to the Grange. So BLM is involved. Everybody seems excited about this project. And we have, I think, 19 donors. We have 3 contractors, and the Oregon State Marine Board is also donating the signs. I came straight from work, sorry. But if you've been to Flores Lake, it is how to use the life jackets, precautions for using them, how to make sure they fit right. And then I've been in discussions with Luke Martinez, who is our lifeguard, our Curry County lifeguard, and both him and the Sixes River Fire Department will be maintaining these stations and making sure they stay stocked and the life jackets aren't broken or stolen, etc. So if anybody had any questions.
Great effort.
Thanks.
We had Luke in here.
We had, we had Luke in here a couple years ago, and at that point, I was reminded he was asking us for $10,000 to do this
what it was?
as part of the TLT funding. And we,
Oh.
at that point, we were just
Hmm.
especially flat broke. And we kind of said, well, great idea. But what's really cool about this is that Ashley has done all of the work, and there's this outpouring because of this tragic situation. So it seems like very timely and a way to make this tragedy into something a little bit more positive. Really appreciate all your work on it.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, and they've had him like abandoned on the docks. They've had it for 100 years there, So I think it's about time. It's great. Thank you, Ashley.
So I think they will be up and going, we hope. Our goal is within the next month to get the contractors together, the donors, and the Oregon State Marine Board to send the signs. And they're also donating the life jackets, even though some community members have also donated life jackets. So we're hoping the next month for project completion on all 3.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
I know Melissa had a good idea. Do you want to mention?
So we were talking about how are they secured to the board, just because it's so windy so I thought, well, maybe if you put a carabiner and an eye hook, they could be clipped to there so they wouldn't be just to the wind, because
Garrison Lake
happens
is
here.
particularly windy of all the
Wind.
sites, so.
yeah.
Here?
I know. I know. So that's why I was like, how are those things not going to be strung all over the county?
So I think the
What's
ones
that?
that they made at Flores Lake, they positioned it in such a way so that, the really strong winds don't hit it, but there's also sides and there's a roof.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, and then they're just kind of hanging on the pegs, but I'm sure that if there was any issues with the wind and them kind of blowing off into the wind, it's a great idea. I mean, that's a simple fix, carabiner and a eye hook.
Cool.
Yeah.
We were just trying to think of how could we think of that. So anyway, all right. Yeah, that works.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. And I'll just mention too, when we put this agenda together, we were thinking that the city of Port Orford might need to
Do an action.
offer some permission or do an action, but this is land that's owned by ODFW. So there really is nothing
Oh, perfect.
for us to have to do except to say thank you and to be supportive. So we really appreciate your leadership.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Definitely can give it our blessing, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So do we have Soren here yet now?
Not quite.
I don't see it.
I don't think KAF would be them.
Do one of you guys want to try to call him? And we can continue on with do our next item, which is our public hearing, but it might behoove us to.
I don't have us. For him.
Shall we,
I-
well, you guys are doing that. Do you want me to?
on, And then as soon as he gets on, I'll let you know so we can come back to that agenda item.
Okay. So why don't we proceed into the hearing? Okay. Okay, so we're going on to now number 6. This is the public hearing. And this is going to be the second public hearing on the Community Development Block Grant, which is to close out the planning stage of the raw water tank grant. So this has been a little bit confusing because last time we had a second hearing, we had a hearing to start the next phase. This is the second hearing of ending the planning phase. So this raw water tank project, which is adding a raw water tank project next to the water treatment plant, federal grant. We did a planning effort for that. Because we had a federal grant, we have to jump through all these hoops, which is we had a first hearing before the thing started. And now we're having a second hearing at the end of it. Okay.
Now, was this plan done by the engineers?
This plan has been executed by Civil West. And the idea is then to get us in the lane to then apply for the next phase. And so the hearing we had last time was to apply for the next phase. So it's a little bit,
So this
Whatever
isn't
we
any-
got, whatever.
This isn't any engineering, this is just planning.
that what we did was just planning, and this is to close out the planning grant. Okay.
Yes, it did involve engineering for the,
Yes.
absolutely.
Oh, so we could like go out to bid, we're at that point?
It's a planning grant, so they had to, the money went to the engineers to say, is this feasible to do some of their boring, is the sub able to be,
Oh, I
hold
see.
that amount of weight? How should it be designed? So the planning is for the engineers.
But then we'd have to get the money to move forward. And that's
And
the
then there'll
phase
be
2.
engineering on how to build it.
Well, no, that's done.
Oh,
We,
okay.
we have the engineering plans. So now the next phase will be going to that. So anyway, was that them coming in yet or no?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So in that case, I'm going to open this public hearing. And as I mentioned, the purpose of the hearing is for City Council to obtain views about the raw water storage tank planning project and the local government's performance concerning it. Notice for this meeting was physically posted around town and digitally on the Port Orford website on the public notice page and this week's meeting page on the afternoon of June 30th. And I'm now going to read the notice in its entirety for the public record. Okay, the City of Port Orford is completing the raw water storage tank planning project funded with a Community Development Block Grant funds from the Oregon Business Development Department. The project is located at the city's existing water treatment facility. It is estimated that the proposed project benefited at least 1,200 people, of whom 69.9% are low or moderate income. A public hearing will be held by the City of Port Orford at 5 p.m. on Thursday, July 16th, in person at the Port Orford City Hall, 555 West 20th Street, Port Orford, Oregon, 97465. The purpose of the hearing is for the City Council to obtain citizens' views about the project and to take comments about local government's performance. Written comments are also welcome and must be received by 5 p.m. Wednesday, July 25th at the Port Orford City Hall, 555 West 20th Street, Orford,
Non-menthol aided cigarettes.
Oregon, 974.
Cigarettes.
Both oral and written comments will be reviewed by the City Council. The location of the hearing is accessible to persons with disabilities. Please contact staff if you need any special accommodation to attend or participate. More information about the Oregon Community Development Block Grant Program and the project is available for public review at Port Orford City Hall during regular office hours. Okay, so that is the notice. I don't think, okay, so having opened this hearing, the council will now open the hearing up to testimony. Are there any citizens who wish to speak to this topic in the room? Are there any citizens online that wish to speak to this topic?
Seeing no raised hands and no comment.
Okay, okay. Seeing no citizens wishing to comment, I will close the public portion of this hearing. So, what?
Did you want to ask staff if they received anything?
Thank you so much, Tim. Did you guys receive any written comments?
No, I did not.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Councilor Pogwitz. Okay, so now I will close the public hearing and council can now deliberate. Does the council have any deliberations or anything they wish to discuss on this matter? Okay. It's a little bit odd because this is a project that is now actually complete. So getting to the, Joseph, at this point, do we need to we close the hearing and then, I don't think we actually have to,
The thing up if you want to.
I don't think we actually have to pass anything. I think we just have to have the hearing this time because it's done. So anyway, if there's no further discussion on this matter, we will conclude this portion of the deliberation and the hearing, and that's it.
Close? Or is it closed?
So I think that's a little bit of an odd public hearing because it's, as I said, the end of that grant rather than the beginning of it. Okay. So having completed item number 6, we are now going to go back to item 5A, which is the audit presentation, fiscal year 2025 audit presentation by Ben Cohen of Sorin Financial. So Ben, are you here with us now? Please unmute yourself. We cannot hear you.
It shows Ben on the list, but it does show muted. Did you mute it?
You can unmute himself. He also had his camera on for a little bit.
Okay.
There's a chance he got set up and then walked away real quick.
Okay, well.
Maybe you could move, maybe you could
Keep moving.
You could move 9E up
Yeah,
and
have the minutes ready.
do the minutes.
Go print them real quick.
We
or
have
what we
to,
just did.
we would have to take a break so Joseph
Oh.
could go and
Okay.
print those up, but let's see, what other item can we move forward? We could do item 9B should be fairly quick. If we want to do, it's kind of an odd thing to do,
So
but
it says I'm in, but can't seem to get my sound to work.
I can hear you.
I wonder if we can have him come, if you could,
I slay myself sometimes.
You crack yourself up. Hold on.
Give him a call from within the meeting, so.
yeah, why don't we try to do that? Thank you.
From. I guess.
I don't,
You're texting?
no, I'm emailing him.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Ben, if you can hear us, please send your phone number to Melissa and we can call you from the meeting.
We're emailing back and forth, so hopefully he can see that.
Okay. And counselors can take the time to be looking through the corrective action and the audit. for the letter to management.
Oh, there he is. We can see him.
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, there we
Yes.
are. Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. Sorry
Well-
about that.
Welcome, Ben.
Thank you.
So we are been flipping through the fiscal year audit here. So we'll turn it over to you, I guess, to give us the tour. Tell us about it.
Okay, perfect. And thank you everyone for your patience. I apologize if I kept you waiting there. I did eventually just have to join from my phone, so hopefully the quality is okay.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So Melissa should have provided you all with two documents, one being a copy of the audit report itself, and then the second being the letter to management and the council that we call the communication with those charged with governance. So I'm just going to kind of jump back and forth a little bit between the two of them. I will give you kind of page numbers if you want to follow along, but you don't feel compelled. And so I'm going to start first in the audit report itself. Right there on about the third or the fourth page is page A1. And that is the independent auditor's report, where we give our opinion. And I guess, even before I kind of dive into the report here, just as kind of a general note, I think obviously we've, faced a lot of challenges these last few years. And I think we have seen some significant progress. I think there's still some additional improvement that we could make, but we've definitely made some steps forward, and we're of course in the process of getting caught up here, and we hope to be caught up by the end of this year, which of course would be a great achievement because we were several years behind. And so without further ado, I'm going to kind of go through this auditor's report at a high level. I'm going to kind of read a couple things from the report itself, and then I'll kind of paraphrase. So starting in that first section there where it says opinions, we have audited the financial statements of the city of Port Orford as of and for the year ended June 30th, 2025. And in our opinion, the financial statements do present fairly in all material respects the respective financial position of the city as of June 30, 2025. So this is what is known as a clean opinion, and this is really the best that you can do. So great job there, of course. And then if some of you can remember last year, this report looks a little different than it did last year, because in the prior year, we had to qualify our opinion over governmental activities because the city had not obtained an actuarial valuation for their single employer OPEB plan, as is required by generally accepted accounting standards. They did, of course, obtain that valuation this year. And once we obtained that valuation, we were able to determine that the amount was insignificant. And so we didn't end up actually recording the amount. But we couldn't, of course, make that decision about whether to record or not record until we had obtained that valuation. So kind of a little bit of a chicken and the egg type scenario there. But now the benefit being you have a completely clean opinion.
Ben, can I ask a quick question on that? Is that something we have to do every year, or now that we've determined it's insignificant, can we just assume that going forward?
That is actually a really great question, Melissa. So when you obtain the valuation, you should have had it done for 2 years. And I think it's actually pretty reasonable if we take a look at it together and we determine, based on the amounts that we're seeing, there's really no way that this could rise to a level of significance. Then I think that we could potentially say, going forward, you might not need to obtain it. But I think that would just be a discussion that we should have at the end of next year, because you do have it for this year and the following years. So kind of a moot point for these 2 years at least.
And what is that called in particular again?
GABA 75.
Oh, that's that GABA thing. Okay. GASBA. Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so it's what we like to call it is the single employer OPEB plan or other post-employment benefit. And again, just as a reminder, here in Oregon, there's a requirement that municipalities offer retirees the ability to stay on the city's plan if they retire and they haven't yet qualified for Medicare. So kind of like a little bit of a bridge insurance. And because those individuals on your plan raise the average age of the individuals on your plan, it essentially increases the cost of your plan. And so that is the valuation that we're obtaining, is essentially what the additional cost to the city is over
Okay.
time of keeping those individuals on the plan. Sorry, that was probably more info than you needed.
Great. Thank you.
He's already.
Yeah,
so it doesn't
of course. So scrolling down a little bit on that page, about halfway down, you'll see an emphasis of matter, change in accounting principle. So as discussed in note 2 to the financial statements, during the year ended June 30, 2025, the city changed its method of accounting for compensated absences due to the adoption of GASB statement number 101, and our opinions are not modified with respect to this matter. So just at a kind of a very high level, previously we would only accrue vacation payable or other amounts that were going to be paid out upon termination. This new standard said essentially any type of paid leave, which is more likely than not to be paid out, should now be paid out, or should now be accrued, excuse me. So that meant that sick leave and compensatory leave and other leaves which were not traditionally paid out, but could be more likely than not to be used, now needed to be accrued. And so that increased the amount of vacation accrual or paid leave accrual that was recorded. The paragraph below that, responsibilities of management for the financial statements. So again, I always just like to remind councils and boards about their and management's responsibilities, and then also our responsibilities as your auditor. So of course, management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements in accordance with US GAAP, and for the design, implementation of and maintenance of internal control relevant to the preparation and fair presentation of financial statements that are free from material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error. So again, I like to point this out just because sometimes we do assist with preparation of the financial statements, but ultimately it is management that reviews and takes responsibility for those financial statements, and also all of the assistance that we provide in the preparation of those statements. So if you flip to page A2, you will see our responsibilities as your auditors. So our objectives are to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements as a whole are free from material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error, and to issue an auditor's opinion an auditor's report that includes our opinions. So reasonable assurance is a high level of assurance, but it's not absolute assurance, and therefore it's not a guarantee that an audit conducted in accordance with GAS will always detect a material misstatement when it exists. So the risk of not detecting a material misstatement resulting from fraud is higher than one resulting from error, as fraud may involve collusion, forgery, intentional omissions, misrepresentations, or the override of internal control. So again, here, just kind of a reminder, the purpose of the audit is to make sure that the numbers and the notes in the financial statements are materially correct. So while we do build some procedures into our audit to search for fraud, that's not the purpose of the audit. And actually, the audit is not very good at finding fraud, mainly because there's a big discrepancy between the level that we are looking at numbers and the level that the fraud is usually committed at are very different. And also fraudsters tend to be aware of kind of the numbers that we're looking at. And so I just always like to remind this to boards, because again, a lot of times when I talk to council members or board members, and I say, okay, what is the board doing to remain vigilant for fraud? They say, well, we get audited each year. And of course, that is just not a great control against fraud. And I think I do say this every year, but if anyone is curious, the number one control to prevent fraud is creating a whistleblower hotline or some other means that employees can report anonymous behavior, or excuse me, suspicious behavior anonymously. Okay, so that's all I have from the first report. And of course, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to chime in at any time. Again, I'm not going to focus much on operational results because at this time they're pretty outdated. So just going to kind of focus on the results of the audit. So now if we flip to the very, very last 2 pages of the audit, we will see the other report that is included in the financial statements. And this is the independent auditor's report required by Oregon state regulations. So I'm going to read from that second paragraph there. So as part of obtaining reasonable assurance about whether the city's financial statements are free of material misstatement, we perform tests of its compliance with certain provisions of laws, regulations, contracts, and grants, including the provisions of the Oregon revised statutes, non-compliance with which could have a direct and material effect on the determination of financial statement amounts. However, providing an opinion on compliance with those provisions was not the objective of our audit, and accordingly, we do not express such an opinion. And so below that, you will see some, but not all of the areas that we looked at in accordance with these Oregon minimum standards. And so in connection with our audit, nothing came to our attention that caused us to believe the city was not in substantial compliance with the provisions, except as reported in note 2, and that the city did not timely file its state with the audit. So that, of course, is kind of unavoidable. Hopefully we'll be getting that filed this year on time. And then I'll just kind of give you a summary of what it says over in note 2. There were 3 over expenditures of appropriations in various funds. And then there was an issue with the timing of the publication of the budget. And if you'd like any more detail on those, as I mentioned, you can see that kind of at the end of note 2.
Note 2,
Where is note 2? Can you just direct us to
It
note 2?
starts on page 17.
17.
Thank you.
How did you know that? I see it. It's note 1, note 2. Gotcha.
Okay, I'm gonna just, if anybody has any questions, I'm gonna jump over to the communication with governance letter.
I had a quick question.
Yeah, go for it.
When you
Shoot.
talked about, what I think, perform fraud risk assessment, and then you said the whistleblower, was that the only way the city can install internal controls that should include performance assessment, even though, I mean, that was one of the risk assessment was one of our write-ups, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Just
What's-
so you know, that's kind of, it's a pretty standard write-up for a smaller organization. Whenever you're designing internal controls and segregation of duties, there's always a kind of a cost benefit analysis that happens. And it is very, very difficult at a small organization to have perfect internal controls, just because you don't necessarily have the staff to have all those checks and balances. And so, first of all, having a risk assessment is just really good best practice, no matter what size your organization is. But then at a smaller organization, what you're going to encounter is again, it's almost impossible to have just a perfect set of segregation of duties. So you often kind of have to have what are called compensating controls. And in those type of a scenarios, I think that it's, the board really has to have some level of involvement, just because there's probably not enough uh, staff at the lower levels to be able to have that sufficient segregation of duties. Um, and so a risk assessment can look like a lot of different things. It can be very informal and kind of just a conversation that's happening, quarterly or yearly, where it's just a discussion about potential weaknesses, kind of walking through the processes and understanding, okay, this is where we could potentially be vulnerable. And okay, maybe there's not a like a pure segregation of duties that we could establish that will address that, but then we create some type of a compensating control. And so what a compensating control might look like is, so for example, kind of what you guys are doing with LAIF and Kitola CPAs. I hope I'm not butchering that. Them coming in and assisting and providing an external review is one type of a compensating control. And so then, the kind of other side of that coin would be you could do a very formal risk assessment where you have, a third party come in and, document all of your processes and the related risks, and then the controls that are addressing each of those risks. I think the main reason that we put this on here is, again, A, it is best practice, but B, it really is a reminder to the board and management that you should be thinking about the risk assessment process and, potential vulnerabilities, and then how you kind of address those vulnerabilities.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. That's a great question. Okay, so I'm going to jump into the letter here. So of course, this letter is to inform the city council about significant matters related to the conduct of our audit so that it can appropriately discharge its oversight responsibility and so that we can comply with our professional standards. So in the letter, we do discuss a variety of our views about the qualitative aspects of the city's significant accounting practices. And those include significant accounting policies. So management does have the responsibility to select and use appropriate accounting policies. A summary of the significant accounting policies adopted by the city is included in Note 1. And as described in Note 1, the city did adopt GASB 101 during the year, and it also adopted GASB 102. However, the adoption of GASB 102 had no effect on the city's financial statements. Additionally, no matters have come to our attention that would require us under professional standards to inform you about either the methods used to account for significant unusual transactions or the effect of significant accounting policies in controversial or emerging areas for which there is a lack of authoritative guidance. Also regarding significant accounting estimates. So accounting estimates are an integral part of financial statements prepared by management, and they are based on management's knowledge and experience about past and current events and assumptions about future events. So certain estimates are particularly sensitive because of their significance to the financial statements and because of the possibility that future events may affect them significantly. So the most sensitive estimates affecting the city's financial statements were management's estimate of the property taxes receivable, which is based on information obtained from the Curry County Tax Department. Management's estimate for the allowance for uncollectible accounts, which is based on historical collection rates. And this, of course, is related to citations primarily. Management's estimate of the depreciation expense, which is based on the estimated useful lives of the fixed assets. And then management's estimate of other post-employment benefits, OPEB, the RHIA or retirement health insurance account, and then also the pension liability estimate for OPERS, which are both based on the audit of OPERS. So we did evaluate the key factors and assumptions used to develop all of these estimates and determined that they were reasonable in relation to the financial statements taken as a whole. So at the very bottom of that page, the last section here, financial statement disclosures. There are certain financial statement disclosures that involve significant judgment and are particularly sensitive because of their significance to the financial statement users. And so the most sensitive disclosures affecting the city's financial statements were the aforementioned, pension obligation, and then the other post-employment benefits. And again, we just like to call those out as being significant just because they are extremely lengthy and complicated disclosures. So if you flip to the next page there, regarding audit adjustments and uncorrected misstatement, we did propose several material adjustments to the trial balance to record and adjust certain year-end accruals. And then, of course, we're not aware of any uncorrected misstatements other than misstatements that are clearly trivial. Regarding internal control matters, we did issue a separate communication regarding certain deficiencies in internal control that we identified during the planning and performance of our audit of the financial statements. And you did mention one of those a second ago with the risk assessment. Regarding disagreements with management, happy to say that we had no disagreements with management during the course of the audit. And also, we're not aware of any consultations that management had with other accountants about accounting or auditing matters other than the advisory assistance provided by Kitola CPAs.
Can you give me an example of a trivial misstatement?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we talk about materiality in our audit, it's essentially a function of the magnitude of the numbers that are in your financial statements. And so I can't give you like a hard, fast number because it kind of changes every year based on the numbers that are in your financial statement. But usually the way it kind of plays out is materiality is usually at about 2 to 5% of whatever the highest number in the financial statements is. So if your revenue is $1 million, materiality is usually going to be in the $20,000 to $50,000 range. And then what we consider to be clearly trivial would be about 1/20th of that. And then it would also vary by fund. So, your general fund would have a much higher materiality than your parks fund. And again, it's all based on the level of activity, and the general premise is an item is considered material if a change in that amount would change the users of the financial statements opinion about something. So, if you have numbers that are in the hundreds of millions, if a number changes by 10,000, even though that number seems like a lot to us, that's less than 0.1%. So at that level, that would probably be clearly trivial.
So can there be many, would many clearly trivial add up? And do we have any of that going on?
So we are required to aggregate all misstatements in between clearly trivial and material. But kind of inherent in the definition of clearly trivial is that the amount is so insignificant that it would have to be such a voluminous amount of errors that it's very, very unlikely. And then if something was even $1 over the clearly trivial threshold, because this is something that we have to document pretty extensively in our working papers, then supposing clearly trivial was $1,000, if we had an adjustment that was $1,001 that we thought should be made, and we passed on that adjustment. Because again, this is only for adjustments that should have been made that weren't. Because we basically make all the adjustments that we determine should be made. And so if it was even $1 above that threshold, we would have to track that going forward and aggregate it to make sure that it wasn't going to be material in the aggregate. So we do take that into account.
I think you answered my question. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. It's also a very good question. And sorry, I know it's kind of a roundabout way of answering it, but that's kind of the nebulous nature of an audit in a way, is that it's very catered to, you know, each individual entity and then for that year. And so, you know, what your clearly trivial amount this year might be, you know, half of what your clearly trivial amount is next year if, you know, you were to kind of double the scope of your activities.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's all I have at this time. You know, I'm happy to answer any more questions. And of course, you know, if anyone thinks of any question at a later date, you know, we always make ourselves available. And yeah, it's you know, we do greatly appreciate the opportunity to be of service to the city.
Perfect, Ben. Thank you very much.
And-
So,
Can I
Yes.
just say something? I also, we get this clean bill, and that is very much, remember, this is our 4th audit. It's in a short amount of time. So Dina Lang is a massive component of this. Our new people of Leaf and Eric Kaitola have been helpful, not necessarily in this particular audit they weren't here at the time that it was happening, but in the audit and collecting all of the things. Joseph has to pull different resolutions. This is a very in-depth process for us because we are so small, but the Soren staff, Ben and his staff, has been really great to work with. And just so that everyone knows, we've already, you know, stepped up to say, yes, we've retained them to do our next audit. We're looking at starting that either late September or in October. And again, that needs to be done by the end of December in order to stay on track now that we're close enough to get there. And we are on track to do that with them. So we are still learning and trying to figure some things out and all of that. And it is a big lift for our very small staff, but I feel like they've been great to work with, and we appreciate them being graceful with us because we can't turn the information around as quickly as some other entities, and they've been very lovely. So thank you.
Thank you as well. It's a pleasure working with you and your staff too.
Thank you.
terrific. So at this point, I think the items that we had some items that are later in the agenda, but maybe we should just pull them up, and that is to accept the budget and also the corrective action plan, right?
Not the budget, but the
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, the audit.
So I
Already
move to
got-
accept the audit as written.
I'll second it.
Okay, Joseph, did you have a point of order or something?
I'm assuming council agrees via consensus that it's okay to move on to item 9A because it wasn't done formally. That was the
Yes.
item you just.
Yes, that's what I was going to ask for that first, if everybody by consensus feels okay with that. Yes? Brett is being so efficient tonight.
Yep, moving right
So
along.
we've got consensus, we got a first and a second to accept this audit. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. Counselor Rask,
Yes.
Counselor Lovendall,
Yes.
Counselor Webb,
Webb, yes.
Counselor Brennan,
Yes.
Counselor Burns,
Yes.
Counselor Pogwizd.
Jim, yes.
Okay, thank you. And now the next part of that 9D, what is the number? Is
9A.
9A is the corrective action plan, which is, we discussed that there was one deficiency, which of course sounds bad, but it's not too bad. So Melissa, why don't you explain that and then explain the corrective action plan, what you're going to be doing to rectify?
So basically, there were significant adjustments that they needed to make sure they were in the right places. And so if by going through their audit, they found some of those that our staff did not find in that place. And again, this was from 2025. And so if you'll remember, there was a lot going on there. So it was a little bit of an upheaval in all of that. So basically by contracting with the Kaitolas, having them, especially with Eric, who has been a veteran governmental CPA in this, the correction is that we have hired them. They will be taking more of a look at our internal controls as far as having that third party look everything over, do the end of month reconciliations. They've helped us prepare the budget. They're helping us pull the audit documents forward and giving suggestions to us if there's ways to improve our internal controls. And like Ben mentioned, it's really hard to have multiple layers of these things when you only have, two of us, I mean, that makes it hard between Dina and I trying to do that, but we follow what has been protocol, and we are excited to work with Leif and Eric moving forward to continue to improve.
Yeah, and I would think maybe one of the benefits of doing so many, if there's any benefit to doing so many audits at once, is you really get a chance to learn how to do things better.
Correct.
Anyway, okay. So, and Melissa has put this corrective action plan. We have it before us. So we also have to approve this or adopt this, or is this not, this is just for,
Basically, I have to send this to the Oregon Secretary of State that says, because this was something that was found that we are continuing to work on, I have to push this forward to the Secretary of State to say, this is what we're working on and here's how we're correcting this. And then that's buttoned up. So
okay. So it doesn't sound like we really
I don't think you have to
you just have to
approve
share
it. I just wanted to share it with you, and that you see that we're listening and trying to improve and what our plan is.
Excellent. Okay. Well, thank you so much. And I do want to underscore how important it is. I mean, there's been a lot in the news about like other cities maybe not just falling behind on audits and whatever, but in some of the things we've been doing with our grants, the facts that we were so behind on our audits causes delays and problems and everything. So really getting caught up, I know it's been a huge burden on you, Melissa, but it's great that we're finally getting there. And so hopefully getting onto the right schedule will be fabulous and will help us move forward. So thank you for that. Okay. So I don't know if Ben bugged out. Thank you, Ben. And okay, well, is there anything further from you, Ben?
No, I don't think so. I was just saying if you needed me for anything else.
Okay, I think we're set. So thanks so much for joining us and explaining this and for your help. And I think Leif has been here too. So thank you so much, Leif, for your help. And we really appreciate the opportunity to work with you on getting better at all this stuff. So thank you.
Likewise, yeah, we're super grateful to be here working with you all, learning and just making sure that the city's a better place and in a good financial position. So grateful to be here as well.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night. Bye-bye. Okay, so where are we now? We got that done.
Imagine having that job. I just can't.
Aren't we fortunate that some people have different skills? Some people are real number nerds and other ones of us have different skills. So
That guy's dog.
we need them. We need all types in this world. Okay.
Yeah, they are professional pickers of nits, I will say. They find them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
stuff, good stuff.
Bean counters. Okay, we need them. Okay, so now we are moving on to agenda item 7, which is departmental report. So Melissa, I'm turning it back over to you. You provided a great report here, written report. I don't know if you have any highlights you want to make or.
So one of the things I wanted to give kind of some updates, even since this has been here on the 16th Street Row area, we've had folks talk about the trash that has accumulated there. And so just letting you know that Public Works will have a trailer there tomorrow that will be there, and they'll go try and help. So if there's people who want to go help with that, the trailer will be available tomorrow. We didn't want to leave it for the whole weekend or anything like that. We'll leave it there till the end of the shift tomorrow. So that if
Time,
I assume they'll put it there in the morning.
but I mean, as far as going over
That's up to you folks. I'm not going to dictate to you when you volunteer your time if you want to go do that. But it's mostly to get the trash that's been put in the right of way along Idaho into there. So it shouldn't be a huge job, but that's what we're planning to do for that. So that's good. That's the update. Also, just a few updates on the union fronts. So we have a fully executed contract with our police officers. So I appreciate President Andrew Perry and working with his crew. That was great. So that one's all done and taken care of. And I know that the Teamsters with the take-home truck situation that had been in there, there was some questioning about some of the verbiage with the responsibility for them, the level of responsibility they have if they do choose to take their vehicles home for that. That was something that we had big conversations about. So I wanted to let you know that what we had landed on for the language was, at all times, city employees authorized for take-home vehicle privileges are in possession of a city vehicle. They agree to and shall exercise the due care that a reasonable person is expected to exercise for the care, security, and safekeeping of the vehicle and all city-issued equipment contained within it, and refrain from any unsafe operation thereof. So the original verbiage didn't have anything about the security of the vehicle while it was in their possession, or what happens with that. And so we came to that verbiage to say, yes, they are responsible for having it there. So I felt that was good. And then my understanding is that, well, they have asked to have this space on Monday evening to get the union members together to vote on this document. And then we should be able to.
Seems pretty reasonable to me.
Seems, absolutely. Yeah. And that's one of the things, I don't know if people can hear because he doesn't ever talk into the microphone, but he said it seems reasonable to me, which is good. No. And so what's nice is that both of these union negotiations went very, very smoothly. It was lovely to be able to do it with our people and just to sit across the table and say, what do you really need and how can we help you? And they understand our financial situation and where we are and our, need to mitigate liability and risk. And it has been really great. And I know that is not the way it has been in the past. And so I just really appreciate their willingness to work with us, and everyone assume best intentions and work well together. It was a great situation. So it takes a long time, just the nature of it, but I'm very, very pleased with this outcome.
Yeah, and I absolutely want to recognize your part in that, Melissa, of really working to build a good team, to build trust, and to build the communication skills in the team to be able to have those conversations, which really helps us in the long run. So thank you so much for your leadership and skill in making that happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have a great team, and I'm proud to work with them. Other things that are coming up that, again, are beyond this information, although there's really good things on here as far as the dredging projects and the culvert removal projects that are in motion, the American Legion Hall. We're actually finally seeing these things breaking loose and being able to get them to move forward. And I'm thrilled with that. And staff is working hard to help make that happen. Also, the last thing is I went this last week to the Oregon City and County Managers Association Summer Conference. And it was really nice to be in a room with other city managers to say, what are you dealing with? How are you mitigating it? How are you handling it? Also, to get some kind of phone a friend people to be able to say, how are you dealing with this? Or something comes up. I know I have a handful of phone a friend folks our size and maybe a little bigger to say, how have you handled this? How are you doing this? And that is invaluable. So I really appreciate the ability to go do some professional development on that front. So thank you for that. And the final thing I will say also is that November is coming quickly, and so we have 3 seats will be available for the city council elections. And so just some base kind of rules. 3 seats are available. Candidates do not run for specific seats. It's not like where you live determines which seat you are in. There will be a notice in the newspaper on July 22nd and July 29th. And this notice will also be up on the website. The first day to pick up paperwork from City Hall is July 30th. And the name of that form is the SEL 121. In order to collect signatures. And even though our charter says needs less than 25 signatures, that is a misstatement, but we'd have to take that to the voters, and opening up our charter is a huge endeavor. So I'm just putting it out that they need more than 25 verified signatures from people who live within the city limits. So again, I'm going to say that you have to have people who live within the city limits to get at least 25 registered voters, 25 signatures. So my suggestion is that you get more than 25 in case some of your people are negated from the list by the county clerk for that. So under the rules of the city charter, potential candidates have 28 days to get the signatures into the city. And so the first day to return signatures, if you're really quick, you could pick it up on July 30th and bring it back on July 30th. And the last day is August 27th. So again, if you reside within the city of Port Orford and would like to run, and you've lived here longer than 6 months. And
So that is also a thing in our charter
Would be nicer
that
to
we need
change.
to, we need to address that, I think.
so again, changing a charter, there's a few things
Well,
in there,
We've had this,
but it's
you
a
know what
long
I'm talking about?
Yes,
Yeah.
You did-
I know.
Yes.
And the other thing, well, I mean, this is a back burner thing, but I'll just mention it. As Melissa and I have been working on procurement things, there's also some weird things in our charter that because we don't have them, we have to go to a state law instead of having our own local policy. So it may be winter work to look at some of those to see if we want to do some cleanups, but it's a big lift.
Yeah.
I just don't know that our announcing it overrides what's the, you know, what I'm,
Correct.
I don't think it does either.
I don't think it
I
does.
don't think it
I
does.
think they can walk in with one signature and we would have to accept it.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's in the charter.
That's what it says.
That's what that's what an attorney's gonna say.
I'd like to clarify that point. The original charter does say no fewer than 25 signatures. There was a Scrivener's error when it got translated to the online code. The online code says you require fewer than 25.
In that case, we're probably covered then.
So that's just a matter of, that's,
It's a Scrivener's error.
So if it's a Scrivener's error, why can't we just fix it
Yeah.
as opposed to a
Put it
charter?
in the code
Oh.
before.
Well, okay. Well, thank you,
excellent.
Joseph.
That's great.
Thank you. That's no problem.
So much for the winter's work.
Yeah.
Don't
Well,
thank
we
me
have others.
quite yet,
Oh my
because there are
gosh.
still other things in the charter that should probably be looked at for one, and for two, I put in that request to get that corrected last election,
Hmm.
and it came to our attention again that revision never went
Still
through.
has not gone through. So
See,
Okay, well,
Well, I think
The other
any
issue
change
is-
to the charter requires a vote of the citizens.
yes, it does.
Correct.
Yeah.
I believe at least 2/3.
Okay. So,
so if that's the end of my report, unless you have any questions about what was written or what I've just spoken about.
Thank you, Melissa.
On the right of way, is it only going to be the garbage on the Idaho Street, or is garbage in the whole right of way?
So if you remember, so right now, I think that garbage that is trash is what's down, but there are some places up there, mostly on the Ray's Food Place property. Like there's a pallet with some stuff on there. Remember that if we as the city take that, we have to, hold on to it for 30 days and do those things. If it's purely trash, then we could just immediately take it and throw it away. I think if people wanted to go and do that on the rest of the property to pick up trash or to do things, I think they would be welcome to do that. I just know that we know for sure that the stuff in the right of way is trash. The other people have moved to the edge there.
So the stuff, the other stuff on the pallets is being stored there?
No, I mean, we can move it, but that would take, again, that's not the trash that immediately could be taken to the dump or put into a dumpster. That would be, we'd have to put it in the trailer, go store it for 30 days in case someone wants to come back and claim their property. It has to be secured. We secured it at the city shop yard, lock it up there so that if someone came to City Hall and said, that's my stuff and could describe it, then we could get that for them with that 30-day.
The old saying. Man's cash is.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yep. So we have to be very careful about that when we do it.
The city is the landlord.
Do we have any kind of a plan for that, or is
It's
that
true. I know it.
just kind of up in the air
What do you mean to plan for?
for picking up the site? I
Like
mean,
things on the
what my
pouch.
impression of our ordinance is that at some point, you look over there during the day and there isn't anything on the property.
Correct. And so we can pick that up. But again, it would have to be something that we would put in the trailer, store and secure, and then we could do that. So maybe tomorrow can be just the trash that we know needs to immediately go that either has a biohazard or is obviously unhealthy, unclean, unsanitary, unhygienic, whatever that can go to the trash can automatically go to the landfill or into the dumpsters. But then if we think there's a possibility that it looks like it could be someone's property, then we would need to store it. So at this moment, no. I think tomorrow would be to get the trash piece of it, and then maybe next week, again, put the trailer out and then do it. But again, I want to.
Who is it? Who's,
Signage or something that could say like items left after.
Well,
10 a.m.?
we have the rules that are up on the boards.
Does it say anything about?
It says that you need to keep your area clean and that it
if
will
you
be. taken-
recall, Brett, the part of that state law is that you can't take, if you remove somebody's potential property, you have to store it for 72 hours.
Right, but that was if we remove them from the facility, but they're required to leave, right, at a certain time of the day. So that's not us. That's just the time, place and manner, right?
Mhm.
Which is just good. But if they left their things inside of that facility in violation of that time, place and manner, wouldn't that be the same as forfeiting that?
No, that's when that's when we can pick it up and secure it for them so that we have to hold on to that for 30 days in case they decide, no, actually, I do want that tent that I left there, that they could come and get it. That's the whole, that's the rules that we have to play by per
Are you guys
LOC.
gonna do that on a daily basis?
No, I can't, no, not on a daily basis, but we're trying, again, we gave grace, we posted the rules, we've given grace to say, to do education and to have
Right.
police and to do all that stuff. And now we're at the point where, yes, we are following through on those things. And if they have been asked to vacate and they don't, they get the 72 hours to say you need to, and then the officers will be issuing citations for that.
Are
So
we doing
Melissa-
walkthroughs in the morning or,
If people are there, that's, yep,
so we are now enforcing that ordinance?
yes, we are.
Because there were a couple tents at noon today,
Again, today.
because I go by there every day.
Okay.
So the question is who's kind of in charge of that? Is it the officer on duty every day?
The officer on
or-
duty, officer on the day shift would be the one who would go and make sure that that is happening. Assuming there's not a
Crime.
a crime,
Or
a major thing
emergency.
going on or emergency, that is part of their role is to.
So for the thing though, like the picking up of things in the pallets, is that in their purview too of saying, like coming up with a plan for that? Like if people leave stuff, or is that something you have to pay attention to? I mean, I'm just kind of asking about
Right.
what is the chain of command in this little realm of stuff, so we know who's the point person.
So people have contacted me to say there's a tent up or there's still people there. And then I call them and say, can you please go walk through there? If you haven't done so, go walk through there to make it happen. And then they would, if we have the stuff, either contacting Public Works or contacting a police officer who can then contact Public Works if we need to do that. But the idea of going over there every single day and picking up the things and doing this, that's hard on our small staff, especially when we have all the dredging, all the other things going on, because it is Public Works that,
It's Public Works that has to do it, not the law enforcement. Law enforcement can ask people to move on, but when it comes
Right.
to picking up the
Ne-
stuff, then it's a public works purview? Even though it's the 30-day thing or 72 or
Yeah,
72
I mean, I
hours
think it's the
30
combination
days.
of the two. I'm not going to say it's only this group or only this group
Okay.
or only that. I mean, this has to be a team effort.
Yeah.
And one of the things that came from that conference was basically, I think people in cities had this idea that this was going to be maybe a shorter term situation and it was going to be, okay, we're going to do this and then, it's going to work out and it's going to do, and whatever one solution you try, then is going to work. And what we've realized is that this is basically a permanent situation that the city is going to have to be mitigating as we go through. So as we do that, that's why I don't want to say, oh, it's going to be this person and this person's only responsible or this group, because it's going to take a team effort. And we have people who also, community members who want to help with this. And so I would see that, as we discussed in the last couple of meetings, that if people want to go and they can help out and to work with folks to, keep things picked up and to do that, that it's not just city staff, that this is a community-wide effort of people who want to help with this.
But the
To
legality
it
falls on the
does
city
fall
or
ultimately,
Orford.
right.
And it's kind of a shame that we're gonna have our guys dealing with that rather than taking care of the park, which, we heard an uproar about, and those kinds of things.
Correct.
Just,
I agree.
don't see
I have a-
how it's
I know, I
have a
wonder if it's
question on,
enforceable.
it's enforceable, but I don't see how we don't have, like you just said it, we don't have the staff.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That would mean it wasn't enforceable.
Sarah, did you?
I had a question about, the city's only responsible for the property, that's city property. A lot of that belongs to Ray's.
Which
Oh, you mean
Terry
the-
didn't realize,
Yes.
We didn't realize a big portion of that,
Right.
which we thought was,
because he doesn't want anybody on that property.
Right.
How wide is that street? Is it 90 feet?
80.
80.
our part is 80, but it's wider than that.
The area where
Ray's
people can-
almost has that amount
Mhm.
too.
Right. And that's the part that if Ray's, doesn't want people there, then whether building a fence or, hanging up signs that no trespassing here, or those are things that they can then do because it is their property. They're the owners of that property. They can do what they need to do to protect their property on
You
there.
just call 911 and ask for them to be removed. If somebody,
Well, if they've given letters or given a notice to them and they've said, you've been trespassed from this property, and then the person isn't responding or the people aren't responding, then yes, once it becomes a criminal trespass situation, then our officers can go in and do that. But there had been question of where are the property lines, because we also can't just go kick people off of that. That's their private property that they need to do. So that's another thought, that if they are frustrated with their bathrooms being used and things like that, that if they wanted to provide, amenities outside
Yeah,
for that,
so
they
they
don't want
could,
them there.
they could do that. Right.
But the
So-
survey piece of it, it seems wrong of us to create this situation
Mhm.
and then say, well, you don't like it, get a survey. I mean, it seems like we should.
We know where our line, we do.
Because they're not encroaching on us or whatever. Those guys are saddled with,
It's private property.
right.
So you guys, we have this as an agenda item to come up with to
Yeah,
talk about
okay.
the recommendations of this committee.
Yeah.
So why don't, if you don't mind, I would just say we get through these and then
My fault this time.
we can circle back.
It was Tim.
Okay. Okay.
The only thing that concerns me is legal.
Okay. So we'll pick it up when we have a discussion on item 8B. So next item up is my mayor's report. See, I just felt like telling you my stuff. But I did give a report here. The really big thing I did in this report was really to recognize the extraordinary contributions of our citizens for the 4th of July, I think, which was a really extraordinary thing that many people in our community put together. So I really wanted to take the time to really commend the Jubilee Committee this year, Marlene Hoffman, Katie King, and Priscilla Lang, and also the Port Orford Rural Fire District's pyrotechnics volunteers who really, they had to go to special certifications. They spent a lot of time to put all that on, not to mention so many other citizen organizations and individuals who put on all the events and businesses. I mean, it was
Cleanup.
really, and the cleanup the next day was done. So
Or
anyway.
before even.
And before, yes, oh my gosh, before the people who did it before, Garden Club and the Rotary. So anyway, that's kind of what I wrote about mostly. And I will just highlight to, yeah, thank you counselors who walked in the parade. It was pretty fun to be part of it and who helped with the parade float. And then finally, just the big thing that was the big news, Melissa alluded to it, we both put it in our report, is that the money finally broke through for the dredging now. And so we are scrambling to make it happen in the time allotted. Melissa and I already have met with staff and the engineers and the contractor and everything, and we're working to just kind of get all the I's dotted and T's crossed to make it happen. And so once the schedule gets finalized, we'll be keeping everybody in touch or keeping everybody posted.
And the tentative time, remember, for the in-water work season is that it will be tentatively the second week of September. And then they have to be done by Halloween, October 31st. So we expect it to be a couple of weeks. All things go as we assume they will or hope they will. But it's going to be a major production. So there's going to be lots happening.
Major production.
Is culvert removal? Did we get progress on the culvert removal?
Culvert removal is
Yes.
also in progress.
And that one's been awarded, and there's just,
We have so
we're
many-
working
we
on
have
the
so many things
contract.
going
We're
on.
basically working on the contract parts of all these things to finalize the contracts and
Gotcha.
get the things scheduled and all that. So anyway, but it's very exciting because this is a
It's gonna go
huge thing.
positive. It's gonna
It
work.
is.
It
Yeah.
will. It's
We have to think that way,
absolutely, it will.
because I could tell you stories.
Nope.
Don't tell
zip
us
your lip.
stories.
Zip your lip.
No.
One thing I just wanted to ask about
Yeah.
Jubilee. So this year we didn't have vendors, right? And I had quite a few people ask me, why don't we have the vendors? They missed that. And that was Battle Rock parking lot with the booths and all that stuff. It's
Volunteers.
Quite festive there.
They didn't have.
And there just wasn't
volunteers.
there this year. And I'm not critiquing the work of anyone, but that's what I've heard.
Yep.
And people.
But they could
miss
be the
that.
volunteer next year.
Yeah, they had a turnover in the,
For 2 years, we
committee,
didn't have
and
volunteers.
so they worked really hard to pull this off.
Absolutely.
They didn't have the time because they didn't,
We kind of have to
Came at the
right
last-
size
Is
to
that why
who
it
we
did?
have.
Is
Yeah.
that why it happened?
And next
I don't
year,
know.
there's only one of them that's going to come back to the
Yeah,
Jubilee.
They turn over pretty quick on that deal.
it's a lot of work.
It burns a person out
It
being
does,
involved
I'm
in
sure.
just the fireworks and the parade.
It's a huge undertaking
Yeah.
for our
Well,
little
there was like
community.
vendors at this thing though, like
Yeah,
in the past, right?
Yeah.
There was
And I
chili
think
dog guy and the.
Katie had her market thing open, I think, that day,
Yes.
So,
sort of.
and she,
right, and she's done great work and I,
Well, you know what, the thing is, the city supports now, our level of support for this is that we partner with the Jubilee and to be helpful as we can. We have through our MOU with Main Street we give some money for promotion that goes towards that event. But we don't manage it in any way, shape or form. It's all on the Jubilee committee. So but I gather that they're going to have a meeting and they're going to be talking about it. So those thoughts could be
but
brought to their
we
attention.
are the authority that prohibits vendors for that day.
prohibited.
We didn't,
Well,
We didn't,
was there any vendors?
yeah, but we didn't prohibit them.
Yeah, they did.
They didn't have anybody to organize
I'm
that.
just saying that was I was pretty much just some reading on some of the discussions and it looked to me like for lack of the manpower to manage things, that what the decision was to just not have vendors this year.
yeah, but that's not a city
That-
policy.
Well, that's
That's not us.
That's the
what it
Jubilee
is.
committee.
We would be the one who said, the Jubilee committee can't say what happens on city property. They can't, they have no authority. They're just They can't. And so we are the authority. They act through our authority to close streets, to do this and that, because we are the responsible party. If that's, I'm just saying, that's what I was hearing about that. I was hearing about that. It went out, that parade was great. That was the most people I've seen on the boulevard in years. And then to see, you know, it kind of just go away after the thing was kind of disheartening.
But I don't think that the city turned anybody down. I don't think they even came. They weren't organized to have them. So it wasn't
What
our,
happens is you'll go to, like, I sell
I
chili
know.
dogs, right? I sell chili dogs. Then I go to the
Mhm.
Jubilee Committee and say, where can I set up my stand this year? And they say, we're not doing any stands this year.
well, then they just decided not to do any stands. It wasn't a decision on the part of the city.
But that's what I'm saying.
We haven't, the city hasn't said what makes the Jubilee the Jubilee.
Yeah, so
We haven't
we're,
really made that any kind of,
No hot dog guy came to Melissa and said, could I set up my,
no, because they
stand
go
on-
to the Jubilee
They
Committee.
want to. I've heard this as well. And we've always had vendors at the park more years than not, but for lack of volunteers, that committee has turned them down. And I think there's a lot of people with food trucks that are very interested in doing this.
Yeah.
Then-
In years past, we have had, in fact, we have waived the business license requirement for that day. So that actually shows the support of the city in very recent years. So that's all I just wanted to get out there that that's what I've heard, and I understand why it's being said. I understand. And, you know, if that,
I think there's going to be I've heard that there's going to be a meeting about next year's Jubilee after this one. And I don't think
I
the
heard
lack,
there's going to be one.
I was going to say, I don't think the lack of vendors is going to be the big problem. I don't know who's going to do it. So the people who want to do that, I think somebody's going to have to step up to organize it, because the city could certainly decide to allow it, but we can't organize it, obviously.
right, no.
So-
I agree.
So
No,
it's
'cause I've
like,
been down there when they've been down there, and you kind of get pulled in whether you're involved or not. I had to get power for different vendors a few years back and that kind of stuff. And,
But there's hundreds of people in that parking lot.
oh yeah, no, it's a big deal. It was packed this year up top.
Mhm.
So I don't know. Anyway,
it's just one of these things where I mean, I feel like so it's just, there's lanes, and we have to hope that people, if we want to keep it going, that people can get excited to do it. And I think the fact that they did such a good job this year, I think hopefully will build some momentum or interest, but it sounds like it also just burned them out. So
I don't know how they pulled it off, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, that was 2
Okay.
days or something.
And then the last thing I'll mention is I got a little scholarship to go to the mayor's conference in early August. And so I'm going to go do that. It's in Ashland, so I can drive without too much trouble. And I'm supposed to bring a basket that represents Port Orford as an auction item. So if anybody has ideas for swag for me to put in a little Port Orford basket, let me know, because it'll be an opportunity to highlight ourselves with all of Oregon, many of Oregon's mayors. So that's it for me. So
Bottles of
One year
wind.
We sent
that's a good one.
we sent a bunch of agates one year.
Okay,
We
Oh,
did a
that's
whole
an idea.
basket full- A whole basket full of agates we sent.
I have a
And
little
then they could
jar.
all take some if they wanted to, you know.
Have a garage full.
Okay, that's an idea, a jar of agates.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
I'd be glad to donate.
Okay, so next item is Leaf Kaitola. I don't know if he's here to do this thing, or you are. Leaf, are you still there?
Still online.
Oh my gosh, you've been sitting through all this.
Yes, I'm here still. No problem.
So there is a little finance report from you here, Leaf. I don't know if there's anything more you want to add.
No, that's on there is pretty much just summing it up. So yeah, the audit for FY25 has been completed. We were able to get all the personnel costs transferred back to the individual funds. So we're going to be able to look at that. As soon as we get all of the year-end closing done, I'm going to take a look at the operating surplus deficit for each fund, and we can kind of go from there about a plan for action of what we want to do. And then, like Melissa stated earlier, we're going to be starting the audit in later September or early October, and we're just going to prioritize getting that done so we can stay up on track. That's just our current state at the moment. But yeah, if you have any questions, please let me know.
Leaf, I have a question. Of those dates, because I know you were on that email, do you have a preference of those?
I have no preference. Anytime works for us. So whichever the city prefers, we're flexible and willing to work around that.
All right, I love that. Thank you.
Of course.
Excellent. And one thing we can talk, we haven't had financial statements in these packets, which I know we used to have. And so that's something I remember was a deficiency last year, was the idea of making sure that the council can be tracking finances. And so that might be something we need help to do from Leaf so that we,
Right.
as a practice, as a best practice. So
Yes, we are responsible for that.
Was that part of the audit? Was that what he was saying at the end, that the deficiency was? Or did I?
no,
No.
he didn't, but that was from a previous year. I think the deficiency was
Right.
making sure that council is educated, and it's sort of hung in my mind that that's something that is helpful for us, because when we get to the budget, and when we get to the audit, if we've been following along all year, it helps us all to be more proficient.
And I would say right now, with the closing of fiscal year 26 and into 27, that they're working on the closeout. And to be honest, Dina's been sick the last couple of days. So she was normally, these would be days she would work, but she's not feeling well. So we're working to get those. But yeah, Leaf, it's going to be important to get those council reports to the council so that each month, so that they can
We can look back at
look
some of
over.
our-
prior. And he's done them since, we just didn't get him this month.
Yeah, we have the template and we have a couple of ones for prior months. So transitioning and starting to do a monthly will not be too difficult. I know that Dina, she finishes payroll a couple days after the month end close. And so that, I think that's just going to be our biggest limitation, is just making sure that we have all the correct payroll numbers in there. And then as soon as those are in, we are able to get the monthly reports out within a day or two.
Well, we can figure out what is the most efficient way to go. Maybe it doesn't have to be monthly.
That
Maybe
month
it's
or-
every 3, maybe it's a quarterly.
Or it's a month behind, because
Yeah,
then
or-
it would be buttoned up.
Yeah.
Which would be better than,
Change the payday or something?
oh, no.
Is that too much?
Yeah,
Dina only works.
Dina.
Well, so here's the other thing, we outsourced our payroll and it's cheap. I mean, it is cheap. Just saying, just throwing it out there, maybe.
Yes, so I hear that, and I hear that.
I know how
Under Public
how
Works.
much of a burden is on Dina, and
Yes, and but payroll and doing that is the thing that she enjoys doing. Like, that's the stuff that that's what she was hired for, is the payroll clerk. That's something she takes pride in. She does an amazing job at it. And so that is in her wheelhouse for sure. And so I will leave it there.
Okay. So I think, any other questions on that count? Move on to the next item is Public Works. Do we have Public Works Superintendent Isidore here?
He is in the meeting.
Hey there, John.
Good evening. So first off, I want to touch on just a few minutes on the homeless camp, the resting place. I met with Terry twice this week and we had some really good conversations. What I want to remind everybody is that over half that camp area is raised private property, and we don't work on private property. I did tell Terry that we would probably try to assist with the junk removal so he's not stuck with all of it, because I kind of feel like we created the mess. But again, we should have delineated what actually our property was and what their property was. So he has a clear understanding of where his property line is. He's going to get some posts and put up some no trespassing signs, and then that should be a done deal, and maybe a fence in the future. I don't know. But he's got a legitimate complaint, and I agree with him 100%. It's his property or Ray's property. And that's up to them to manage and what they want and how they want to take care of it. So, and he doesn't want them there. So we will get a trailer over there. We will assist, or if it's not picked up by the time we get back to get it in the evening, then we'll do what we can tomorrow. But we don't have the staff to spend, you know, every day over there cleaning up. It's just unreasonable. There's 3 guys in the field 4 days a week because of the way the rotation of the guys that work the weekends and the guys that have Friday and Monday off. So it's something that people need to think. They think, well, there's 5 of them. Well, there's really not. There's 3 in the field. There's 2 plant operators, and then there's me. So that's what we're running on. Right now, we got a guy out on a surgery, and we have another guy that left yesterday for a surgery that's going to be out for months, maybe. We're pretty short-staffed right now, more than short-staffed. The dredging project's kind of in full swing. We got a bunch of stuff to do prior to be, you know, September 14th or something when they're going to start moving. We've got the shit, lost my train of thought. Anyway,
The
we just
culvert, I think you were talking.
the culvert's in process right now. We were supposed to go up there and do a bunch of work for Erin. We spoke with her today until there's just no way we're going to get there. So she's going to absorb that stuff that she wanted us to do because we can't get up there. There's just too much running around, too many things going on. We've got pumps burned up. We've got Lakeshore, half of it's down. We've got a filter pump that's about ready to explode. We had a VFD go last week or week before that basically let out a fireball and a huge bang in the middle of the shop and shut the water plant down. TAG was amazing. They were obsolete drives. They hunted one down in Portland, had it delivered in Eugene. The guy drove it down the following morning, and by 6 o'clock the next night, we were back up and running. So
Wow.
now we know we have these other drives in there that are obsolete and are going to have to go. We started the feasibility study of the water treatment system or the plant itself. That went really well. We've got a giant list of stuff in there. It'll be interesting to see how that pans out, replacement versus viability to recondition, rebuild the plant itself. So that's in progress. We've got the leak study scheduled for in September, which I'm probably going to move to October now because of when the dredging project's starting. I've got the quotes all back for the UV system and the projects we need to do at wastewater, which there's many. We just need the money to shake loose for that to happen, the recycled Christmas tree money, whatever you want to call it. As soon as that we get a firm, yes, you could do this. We're still trying to get our lift station in at Arizona Street. DEQ threw us another ringer, and now they want another redundant control panel completely separate of the unit itself, which is another 30 grand. And it's going to cost as much to engineer and buy the station probably to install the damn thing. It's pretty frustrating. Kind of at my wit's end with that one. But at any rate, we're moving forward. We're still going through the plan. We're going back and forth with DEQ. I'm trying to get this thing approved. Arizona's been on the table for, I think, 2.5 years. I think it's been sitting in the yard for over a year. It's insane. That's my rant. Everything else you can see on my report.
Hey, John,
Yeah.
question. That Arizona lift station that's causing you all the grief with DEQ because it's larger. I understand. I haven't had a chance to talk to you about it, but anyway, what if we just put that on a pallet and put it away and put the same lift station back in there? We wouldn't have to deal with all these requirements from DEQ. Is that a possibility?
Negative. The laws changed. That isn't a direct replacement with no real increase other than what they demanded after it arrived. And at first it was additional, floats, redundancy and emergency off and ons. And then it was take this pipe out, add this, and now it's add a redundant set of controls.
Okay.
But I think, the point is what makes me think, what I'm thinking about here is that maybe we need to, unless you feel like you're close on getting this to happen, that we might need to, bump this up or something. If it truly is so insane, bump up a complaint to a higher level. I mean,
Yeah, I just don't want to go there yet because of what usually happens with that. But the next one's going to be done as repairs and maintenance rather than replacement because it's just the engineer is been back and forth with them and we're jumping through all their hoops. But this is a 1970, 69, 68 station that if it fails, guess where it's going?
to the lake.
Yeah, so I kind of feel like it's not my liability anymore because of all the holdups, but it's frustrating. I talked to the engineer today. They got the quotes back, so now those will go to DEQ and make sure that they accept that control panel as what they want, and then hopefully we can get it out to bid so we can get it installed.
Well, just keep in mind, I know it's always a balance of like when you're working with the regulatory agencies of wanting to go along and not tick them off. But on the other hand, I mean, it's what you've described sounds ridiculous. So just keep it in mind that.
Oh yeah. I'm
can
gonna have a conversation with my regulator next week, probably early Monday, Tuesday, and just find out what the hell's going on because it really is. It's that at the wastewater plant, the UV system is a direct replacement for what's installed, and so the new replacement is at the same level, and it doesn't require any permitting or anything. It's like, yep, as long as it's direct to direct. So I don't know why. Well, I do know why, but I'd rather not say that in an open meeting. But at any rate,
Well, we feel your pain, so,
it's ridiculous.
yeah.
Thanks for working on all that stuff, John. And I know it's going to be a really busy time here. So anyway. Okay. Thanks to your guys too for all the work, and
Yes.
let us know, we'll just be trying to be supportive of what you're working on, John. So
Oh yeah, absolutely.
yeah. Okay. Oh, what was it? Oh, I just wanted to mention, you brought up that water recycling thing, and I just wanted to tell you, I've been trying to, push the engineer to get that next stage of the report done. And you're CC'd on that. The last I heard would be the late by the end of this month. So we'll see if that comes through.
Okay, I did get the final figures today from Trojan, and it's not too bad. It's actually like 119, 116 for the system, and then about a 19, 18 and change to install. So
Great.
not bad.
UV pit.
Excellent. Okay. Well, hopefully once we get that report, we'll have the cost estimates, and that will give us the ability to move ahead on some of those projects. Everything's going to hit in September, so we'll have to maybe figure out how to sequence them so
All this stuff we've been wishing for.
so people don't go insane. But anyway, okay.
Right.
Excellent. So thank you very much. Have a
You're
good
welcome.
evening, John. Does anybody have any questions before we? No? Okay. Thanks, John. You take
You're
care.
welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Moving on here to the next item is planning. Anything to say about planning?
The planning commission meeting that would have regularly been held earlier this week had to be rescheduled to next week. So it'll be held on the 21st. And other than that, just a real quick reminder to counselors that since we started the meeting at 5, we will need a vote here to extend the meeting in about 15 minutes. So probably after liaison reports would be a good part for that.
Okay, thank you, Joseph. Okay, let us move on to liaison reports. Counselor Lovendall, you gave us a parks report, but we just got it kind of late before
I'll
the
just
meeting.
highlight it really quick so that we
Excellent.
can move
Okay.
on. We have some happy things. The park has not sustained any vandalism recently, so that's good. Maybe we got a hold of one of our key components. I want to thank all the 17 people that went down to Battle Rock Park and really cleaned that up for the Jubilee. The commissioners went down independently and have and reviewed Battle Rock at different stages, made some recommendations. I won't go over them, but we're looking at every component of, under our umbrella, and we will make recommendations and try to move forward on that. Our planning grant, we're working on getting a firm to execute our planning grant. We're very close. On July 19th, there'll be a work party, Rotary. We're working with Rotary and trying to get volunteers to do a lot of our works and parks. And so there will be a workshop at Mike Hewitt's workshop. They need 8 volunteers to help them make the bleachers, the replacement boards for the bleachers. And then they're going to, parts of those replacement, the ones they take out that aren't bad, they're going to repurpose for the dugouts. So let me see. I think that is about it. I want to thank John. I talked to him. He's going to put the signs up for dawn to dusk for our park, for Buffington Park. And I think that's about all. Oh, Rotary is looking at one thing to, we have terrible vandalism in the mini, and they're going to work.
Sorry. Sorry.
What are you doing?
Nothing. Nothing. I was trying to actually,
You were recording.
no, I wasn't.
Okay.
That's recording.
Okay. We're moving on fastly, very fast. Rotary is working. We're going to work with Rotary. They're going to replace the features in the mini golf course. So we're trying to get as much volunteer work done, so not to hit our budget. That's,
You do have some supply, you do have some money for supplies because
Yeah, we do.
Rotary likes to get the supplies paid for if they supply the.
yeah, and they got the wood donated for the bleachers.
Nice.
And we do have a budget for incidental things like
Okay.
projects. Thank
Great.
you.
Well, thank you so much for for all this. It's like really sounds like a good report. You
Absolutely.
guys have been working.
Thank you.
Very good.
Excellent. Okay, any questions for Sarah, anybody? Nope, okay. We don't have a historic preservation report. Port
Port, so yeah, things are just pretty much status quo there. The halibut opener was, I don't think anyone did well. 27% of the fish was caught. So,
Of the quota?
yeah,
Oh,
so it's a tough start. Probably have a couple more. The second one was also poor, so I don't know.
They're just not out there. Fish aren't.
Sometimes they're just not there. Yeah. That's about the most significant thing I can think of it.
are you on track to get a new administrator or are you?
We're working, we are working with Special Districts Association, and really we're going to do it ourselves again this time. 2 managers ago, 2014, we hired special districts to do the whole selection process, and they really did a great job. And in fact, I pulled that binder out and gave it to the chairman to kind of look against what we were trying to do and try and do what they did, kind of, but it's kind of an expensive. It's like $6,000 or something to have them do it. And you got to feed everybody, so, we're going to try to, well, you were.
I was on it, the last one, yeah. I'm willing to do that again if you want someone there. I will help that.
We're moving forward with that. Just about ready to advertise for it.
Okay.
But you're doing all right for now with the assistant, the prior
Right,
assistant.
right. So, yeah, we're holding down the fort. That's,
Good.
Yeah, we couldn't have actually lucked out any better than to have what we have there. That was our number 2.
Jesse.
Yeah, that was our number 2 on the last selection. So.
Worked out pretty well.
That's great.
Okay, excellent. Watershed Leaves Council, there's no big news except that, as Melissa put in her report, they have these cool new t-shirts that look like the shape of the watershed, that look like a leaf. And so those are for sale. There's some posters up
like a leaf.
around
Cool.
town.
Yeah, it's cool. I have
Yeah,
one.
it's a neat one. So anyway, that's a little fundraiser for Curry Watersheds Partnership, which is the over group that are, Erin Minster, who's such a great partner in our community for our watershed and our noxious weeds and all that stuff, works with them. So anyway. Okay, moving on to fire. Anything to report, Deanna?
No, nothing really. So other than, the fireworks, which it's a big load for them to do that every year. So,
Are we down to something like 5 firefighters or?
no,
Okay.
no. What he
Misread
said at the meeting last week was, I think, 15 volunteers currently. So,
Is that normal or what would we expect?
just a few months previously, they were riding around 11 to 12. So they've gotten a couple. I don't know if those are like more seasonal or what, because Chief Duncan didn't say that, but a lot of medical assist calls that they've gone out on and whatnot. But the fireworks is a really, really
Big deal.
big push for them. So they're gonna hopefully be discussing with Jubilee what could be done in the future, because it's a lot of work.
And that it may be that there's 4 or 5 that went through all the certifications. So it's a
Maybe that's what I
subset
read.
of
Maybe that's what I read.
that. Anyway, Okay.
So the Jubilee could perhaps operate on their license to their permit or whatever.
Well, the
Is that
thing
what's being
is they're
suggested?
volunteering their time for doing this.
Uh,
And, they're down there all day. And, they're trying to plan this with the tide coming in and things like that. So it's all a really big timing and execution issue that is becoming a bit more tedious with, the amount of volunteers that can do it. So they're hoping to have a meeting with the Jubilee to figure out best course going forward.
and I think maybe that there was something about the tides that made it particularly hard this year or
Yeah.
something. Anyway,
So, like they might have to start a little bit earlier and, might not be as big and impressive, because it's not as dark, but,
God forbid we ever had a
can't
fire.
control the ocean.
Yeah.
I always worry about that.
well, yeah, and we have, right?
We have had that happen, right?
Okay.
I should vote. It was
Yes,
kids.
well, I'm going to go on to the next item here. Is there anything with the lipstick,
I
Deanna?
was not able to attend that one because I was not able to find the link for that meeting.
Okay.
And I've not gotten an update on it yet. So
Okay. We have, next, we have an unfiltered advisory committee report that Gary put forward. And we're going to be having that, we're going to be moving on to the recommendations of that. So Gary, before we have to extend the meeting, is there any highlights briefly you want to tell us about this before we, because knowing that we'll discuss it thoroughly?
I think we're trying to see what's going to happen with everybody not being that property of the 16th Street right away. And
You mean with the time, place, and manner enforcement? Yeah.
because now they're throughout the community and they're in places that we'll just see what the community, how it responds and whether that's better than having them all in one place or 2 places. If we come up with another place, we could, a big problem is there's like kind of 4 categories of unsheltered people. There's some that get along and they're great. And then the other extreme, the severe mental health problems. You mix those in together and it just creates a real problem. And if they're dispersed through the community and everybody's all right with that, then that's the way we continue rolling. But the garbage that's been on the 16th Street right away is now in all over the community. And Hal just sent me a video yesterday of 15th Street. There's just like a whole huge thing. And to go into one place and pick up is way different than
Yeah.
going, and some of these places are like kind of hard to get to. You can't drive to them. Like the Joanne Ruhoff Trail a while back,
Oh, yeah. that
big
was-
group went in and it took a big part of a day to pack all that stuff out. So we just need to evaluate, and I don't think we're going to come up with the perfect solution right off the bat, but we'll just keep looking at how things are going. And then end to end is really, we met last night and they're really willing to try to make something happen that is best for the community.
So this committee, though, the Unsheltered Advisory Committee, which is the multi-stakeholder committee
Mhm.
that I appointed
Mm.
to advise the council, that has met twice, right? At this point?
Yes, we just had a meeting on the 13th, on Monday. Or
Okay.
was it Yeah, Monday.
And part of the role is to evaluate what's happening so that we can, so you
Right.
guys can advise us. So,
And get input from the different segments.
Yeah.
Different
okay,
stakeholders.
excellent. Okay, we'll get back to this topic shortly. So I would entertain an emotion to take a break and to extend this meeting.
So moved.
Okay, I will refine that as a 5-minute break. I'll call for the vote. Counselor Brennan,
Yes.
Counselor Burns,
Yes.
Counselor Pogwizd,
Tim, yes.
Counselor Webb,
Web, no.
Counselor Lovendall,
Yes.
Counselor Rask.
Yes.
Okay, so we are going to break for 5 minutes. Prepare those minutes.
And while I'm getting those minutes prepared, I also have a question for council.
Counselor Webb, you ready to do this? Or are you going to just hang out back there?
Did you bring enough for everyone?
Already.
Okay, he can have a little snacky poo. I made the mistake of eating a little bit of a peanut butter sandwich before I came here, and then I was like, don't eat a peanut butter sandwich before a meeting you're supposed to be running. Okay. We're going to resume our meeting here at 7:05. And we are on to old business. The first order is 8A, which is this marijuana facility ban update. And to remind everybody, this issue came up when the Finance Committee was looking for ways of making revenue. Councilor Webb actually reminded us that when we did the original, meaning the royal we, meaning the previous councils that worked on this way back when, which I think included Councilor Pogwizd and Webb, when you worked on the marijuana siting for retail, they opted to not include marijuana processing. And that means we leave money on the table for state revenue sharing funds. I think Joseph figured out it was like between $1,200 and $2,000.
2,000.
Yeah, 1,500, 200, to 2,000.
That's sort of the amount of
Is
money.
that whether somebody's doing it in town or not?
Yes, whether somebody's doing it or not, we could possibly get another $1,500 to $2,000 of state revenue sharing. So it was brought up initially by Councilor Webb, and the Finance Committee looked at it and said, yeah, that's how much money we could get if we make this change to our ordinance, which would be, instead of disallowing it, to allow it. And so that's what we talked about at the last meeting, and people wanted to pause and not make the decision, so we had more time to think about it and do research. So does anybody have anything they want to, before we
I
move
would just,
forward?
I would,
say something?
I would say that when it was prohibited, there wasn't any citing. And now, because there is citing, that there's no place for, I mean, we could say, yes, you're going to do it, time, place, and manner, but there's really no zone for them to do it in. So it's kind of like getting money without any risk. That's just my overview of it. I don't think anybody's going to come to town and do that. If I recall correctly, the only real area is the port. And we're supposed to do marine use and stuff like that. So I can't see.
It says here, Brett, I was reading this a little further because I thought I'd remembered. It says the medical marijuana facility and recreational marijuana retail sales facility shall only be allowed within the commercial 4C, 5I, and the Battle Rock mixed use zones adjacent to or fronting Highway 101. So I think it basically takes everything out except for the 101. And the map that Ann provided for us was missing one circle right up there, kind of by the Salty
And then
Dog.
Sarah added another one, because there's another one.
Yeah, and another one.
Childcare in the hamlet.
With
Yep.
all those circles, like Brett said, it's virtually, there's nowhere to do it that touches the 101.
But Tim, just to clarify, I agree with that overall thing, but that number 2 in the marijuana, in the actual ordinance of citing for the retail, my read on that is it's not just fronting Highway 1, it's zones adjacent to or fronting Highway 101. So the commercial zone is adjacent to Highway 101. It goes back a block.
Well, yeah, so you would be able to, I would think, if that block touches 101 is the way I read it.
Okay, yes.
But I don't know.
Well, it says adjacent to, zones adjacent to or fronting Highway 101. So all of those zones, commercial and 10MU and industrial, all are adjacent to.
So if they're hooked to the 101, if they're hooked, so if there's a zone behind a zone and it's commercial, but that front zone is hooked to 101, it's allowed, it sounds like then.
Well, I'm just saying commercial is kind of all along 101, but it's not only 101. It's like often goes a block back. And I meant to print out, we don't have the zoning map here. Do
We don't have the.
You should have your zoning, well, you do, because I put it in the back of
Oh, is
people's
it?
binders, or I have a.
Oh, good. Well, we used to have it, but I don't know what happened. I don't have one anymore, but maybe you can.
A lot of counselors took them home.
Definitely. Okay.
I have it.
What did
Great.
it
So
say?
do you want to make a
Yeah.
copy of it?
I can also pull it up on the
We
projector.
can just show it.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so,
like here, see like all the orange
Mhm.
is the commercial. So see how it's all along Highway 101?
yeah, but that, it says adjacent to or fronting, so.
So adjacent.
Adjacent to, so
Would be a
we'd have to
corner.
define it. It needs a definition in the ordinance, doesn't it?
Yeah, we're gonna have
Because if
to,
we don't know what it says, we're
Well,
gonna
I-
end up leaving it in her lap when somebody comes in and,
Don't leave it in my lap.
And then the other piece of this is the industrial zone is that zone right here. It's just one industrial zone lot, is my understanding in Port Orford. It's
Mhm.
basically this lot
oh,
that's
that's where,
north of the bridge out of town,
Mhm.
between there and Paradise
right.
Point Road on the west side of the highway.
Mm.
It's that lot is industrial zone.
What's the port?
The port
Marine
is
activity.
marine,
Marine
so it's
activity,
not
you
even-
couldn't
it's
do it
not
there.
even in here. So no ideas. So anyway,
There you go.
okay,
So it sounds like if the only place that's maybe doable is in that industrial area, which is away from everybody and everything and.
yeah, well, if you look at this map, it looks like it blocks out, the circles block out that 101 area, don't they, Ann?
well, they block out all of the 101 area. And then if we added that circle that I
Right.
didn't do, it really blocks out all the commercial zone on 101. You're right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so I see it as only that industrial zone you were
Yes.
talking about, perhaps.
I don't see the,
If you imagine the farther one to the north that I didn't accidentally miss, the one at the Head
the
Start,
start one, yeah.
that kind of blocks it out.
If they do decide to do it, they're going to have to put this as that they can do it.
Right, that's the change we're
Right,
talking
okay,
about, right?
that's okay, right. Because right now
It's
it's just
close.
medical.
It's close, it's close. But I don't, like I said, I personally don't think that. Why would somebody want to come?
And it wouldn't be a problem if they were in the industrial.
And the fear was that there was some things that weren't worked out as far as safety goes.
Right.
And those have been, those questions have been answered.
Enough time has gone by.
Yeah, so
Ah,
that's all I know about it. I'm just trying to remember from, it was quite a hectic couple of years.
Oh, yeah,
It was really rough.
I said it was months, I think it was years.
That was decades.
It feels like it. That's why I told Joseph, we really got it down to this one page.
I can't believe that.
Took that long.
So I seem to remember, I mean, so the thing about this ordinance is it's not specifically making the change that's needed, which is to, I think it's just removing particular line, or no, it's not even removing it. It's just we just would say are allowed, right? But that's not what we're doing here. What we're saying here is we want to move forward and then the staff would bring back the ordinance, right? That's what this, that you've given us is, right?
I thought that at our last meeting, we had discussed that this is something that we should be talking about with our constituents as well.
Well,
And they
well, that's what the last month was for.
Yeah, we published it. It's been out there. They're invited to come and they haven't come.
And we have a split council on it
Right,
based on last vote.
right.
So
Which we may or may not have this time. So, but that's why. I
I'd
was
rather
gonna-
not spend 5 hours on this.
Yeah, that's why I
So,
was asking, does
I'm-
anybody have anything else
gonna-
to say on it?
a motion
I'm
and a-
pointing out that we have, that this motion basically is to ask staff to bring it back, the specific language. I mean, we could,
cross
I
out one
suppose,
word.
just change that line, get rid of not, but that would give yet another opportunity to keep it on the agenda.
So this is an ordinance.
Mhm.
Couple readings.
Okay, does
If it's
anybody,
not expressly prohibited, then it's allowed.
Well, it says here though, processors, wholesalers, labs and research facilities are
Right.
not allowed within the city limits. I don't know which category that falls under, to be honest. Would it be processor?
I thought that we just went with processing. That's what I thought but remember, this is two ordinances. First, we did the medical,
Right.
and then 6 months later, we had to start with the recreational. So it's just kind of the two things put together, and it was a little bit goofy, it looks like. But if we just remove that, if we just
Remove processors?
stop it, the city license is required for all businesses within the city. I mean,
Yeah, I would like to ask Joseph, I seem to remember you did some research on this and actually I remember seeing a proposal for what needs to change. Didn't you already do that work?
Yes, I did. I unfortunately forgot to attach it. That's why the last line of the ordinance is we hereby, go through with the changes in Exhibit A. Exhibit A is what you are missing, which is why you're a little bit of confusion going on. But that's what I'm pulling up right now, so I can get that stated for all of you.
Okay, that would be great.
but I think that if you don't prohibit something, then you're allowing it.
Right.
So if we just remove the prohibition, then it's
Oh,
allowed.
I see what you're saying.
But we don't,
Charge them for a business license if we don't specifically.
So that was another thing, is that it was a city business license, because our business license required that you keep all state and federal laws.
Yeah, Joseph has something.
And the change, it's small enough that, it was pretty easy for me to miss. The change is removing not, and adding a little bit of language. So it'll read processors, wholesalers, labs, and research facilities are allowed within city limits and will be required to comply with the restrictions on marijuana sales facilities.
right.
Change it to cannabis.
Should change it to cannabis.
We should change it to cannabis. I mean, honestly,
Well, you'd want to do it all the way through then.
well, I think if you actually look into that, you would probably agree. It's,
Did you say marijuana facilities or
Marijuana sales facilities.
sales facilities? Okay. Okay, yeah, I sort of felt like I'd seen that before. So that is a pretty simple change.
but you
And
would
then
move that down.
What? No, it just says, if you, just that one sentence changes, you'd say processors, wholesalers, labs, and research facilities are allowed within city limits and will be required to comply with restrictions on marijuana sales facilities. So therefore, at that moment, then the processors also have to comply with everything else that's in here, when that covers all the citing. And the only question is, the only thing that's not covered is that industrial 5I. So
I'm sorry, what was that?
the industrial zone out there is the only place where we could keep it. And Joseph, did you say that there could be some question about whether that's an allowed use under the industrial zone?
It might be a CUP.
Yeah, I mean, is it a outright use?
I believe my interpretation, if you change it, would be considered an outright use. Because we're saying that it's one of the zones that it would be allowed in. I'd have to double check the language specifically for what is permitted outright in the 5I, but I believe there are some general catch-all terms, like industrial processing is something that is allowed in the industrial zone. And then you can say that, well, it's industrial marijuana processing or cannabis processing, as Councilor Webb prefers.
So if we wanted to not have that, could we take that out too? I mean, could we remove the industrial zone from this also if we wanted to?
Yeah, now that you're sitting down and looking at it, if that was a requested change, you could make that as well.
That wouldn't require like land use issues?
Ooh,
Yeah.
now that is a good question. I'd have to double check on it.
I think it would. And that would require us going through the whole process to do.
Well, that's what I was asking.
Well,
Oh.
it would be like not necessarily getting rid of the outright use of industrial processing, but it would say no to marijuana processing, but in that zone. we're restricting marijuana processing in some zones.
We've already done it.
So that, I guess, would be where we'd have to allow it somewhere in order to qualify for the.
The most common form of processing is baking. It is. It's a bake, like some old woman with baking cookies and candies and things like that. That's the most common type of processing. I mean, maybe not.
Or just
the
dry.
most,
Or
but-
that wouldn't be considered industrial processing.
But that wouldn't be, but drying wouldn't be, that would just be like, I guess that would be processing. We don't have
No,
definitions.
yeah,
We don't have definitions, but that was one of the things it takes a kitchen, what are the people? The
Illegal.
approved kitchen.
Certified, yeah.
Yeah,
commercial
yeah.
Somebody could rent the
Rent it from
American
the-
Legion
from the
Hall and
Legion
Yeah,
do the
they
processing.
can't do
No,
their-
sorry, they can't do that. It's not in the right zone.
Right next to the school track. Yeah, no.
Adjacent to
Someone had a
101.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we have on board is we could, I mean, as I'm hearing the conversation, is we could move forward and make the change that Joseph suggested. We could ask him to bring it back corrected and make Counselor Webb's suggestion to change it to cannabis. Yes, Joseph?
Also, this would not, you can still vote to approve it since it's an ordinance that requires 2 readings, so it can make those changes before the next meeting.
Are those minor changes?
Well, at least changing marijuana to cannabis.
That
I
would
say
be, right.
minor. And the other one, the industrial, I'd have to check on, but.
The other one.
Yeah, everything else, I would say would.
To remove not and to
I don't
add
think-
will abide by
Well, I
marijuana
think you're
sales
changing,
facilities.
definitely
We're
changing
definitely changing the,
the meaning
I
of
agree.
the-
Well, but that was already on the agenda last time. I almost feel like this was in the agenda last time because I know I read that change that you recommended last time.
So last meeting, it had under, as Exhibit A, that first paragraph redlined with the not struck out and the restrictions, it has to follow the marijuana sales facilities, bolded and underlined.
Right.
So you had that same paragraph, you just didn't have the context around it, which is what council requested to see at this meeting.
Right, and that was my position is that I didn't feel like as big of an issue as it was. And now it doesn't seem to be quite as big of an issue, but as it was,
And I don't think it's a land use issue
I don't think so either.
because we don't allow it. And if we decide not to allow it, we're not changing
It's
anything,
time, place and manner. It's,
right?
So would we want consensus to bring it back or are we?
I don't think we're in a rush. I think-
Yeah, I don't think we are either.
Yeah, just have,
But I'm just wondering if enough people didn't want to do it, then we just drop it now.
Well, the thing is, we don't have to do it by consensus. I mean, we will take a vote on it one way or another. Does anybody have anything further to say on it? I think that's what I was saying is we can entertain a motion to move forward with Joseph's thing as is, or we can entertain a motion to direct him to bring us back the ordinance that has the changes, the 2 changes, which are to the ones he identified to change, to remove not and add that clause at the end that says, and will be required to comply with restrictions and cannabis sales facilities, and then
It's
change
sitting in front
marijuana
of
to
us.
cannabis.
Maybe we should just deal with it now.
Yeah.
you get our money coming. You need that $200, man.
Well, when does it
$200
go into effect?
If we did it, yeah, when would it come into effect?
So first reading would be this month, second reading would be next month, and then all ordinances come into effect fully 30 days after the second reading. So you're looking about 3 months if you approve the first reading tonight.
So we would probably be, what do they prorate
I believe so.
the
I don't remember when they dole it out.
Compensation.
They dole it out at certain time intervals, so chances are we'd miss
the first
at
one?
least one of them, maybe a couple more.
I think they're by the quarters.
Well,
Quarterly?
it would seem that if we
I mean, most of the money drops in November.
so we could,
Property taxes.
we could approve this with the recommended changes and then Joseph would bring back the updated, cleaned up version next time. And that would be the second reading. It would give the public one more time to read it. Right? And that would be the third time it's on a meeting. Yeah.
And then after that, there's still the 30 days before it comes into effect, so there would still be a chance, at least I'm fairly certain, for them to appeal it going through or to, raise concerns and ask council to review it again. So there is a 30-day period after that.
So do we feel,
Yeah, then it seems to make sense to do that. Because then it does, if there's gonna be anybody that's mad,
Mhm.
they'll be here next month.
But
And they'll be, but it won't be too late. We can always stop.
yeah, it's just that we've already done it. We've already opened it
no, I know.
up for twice.
But
And
that's
we
why
did it this
ordinances-
time because so people could come.
Right, but that's why ordinances, you have to do that second reading,
Right.
and that 30 days is because it's such a thing, right? But you want to give people you want to give them the opportunity to speak their minds, and whether or not it's going to do anything is, I guess, of no consequence, but should let them.
And when we were working on
did,
this,
yeah,
we were really
did.
squeezing turnips, like,
Yeah.
because thinking like, okay, $2,000 a year over 10 years is, that's.
I don't think we're in any position to turn our nose up at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so as I was saying, I would entertain a motion to adopt it with the changes we've discussed and then direct staff to prepare a clean copy for the second reading. next
So
month.
moved.
Awesome. Okay.
Okay, we've got a first
So
and a
what-
second.
Come on.
Shall we?
Farther call for any further
Shall
discussion?
we have Joseph or whoever's writing this down, tell us what those changes will be?
So Commissioner Gary Burns has approved the proposal to move on to a second reading with the following changes. It should read. It should read, processors, wholesalers, labs, and research facilities are not allowed within, or are allowed within city limits and will be required to comply with restrictions on marijuana sales facilities. So the changes would be removing the word not and adding, and will be required to comply with restrictions on marijuana sales facilities. Additionally, it has been requested that instances of the word marijuana be changed to cannabis.
Perfect.
Any further discussion?
Sounds like just what we discussed.
Okay, I'll call for the vote. Counselor Rask,
yes,
Counselor Lovendall,
Yes.
Counselor Webb,
Webb, yes.
Counselor Pogwizd,
Tim, yes.
Counselor Burns,
Yes.
Counselor Brennan.
No.
Excellent. Thank you all for that. Discussion?
So you got a lot of changes with the word cannabis.
Yeah.
I've already crossed out 6 and I'm still going.
I'm happy there is an auto replace.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, push a button.
Well, and then go through to make sure it actually caught all of them.
Okay. I
Okay.
just
Spell that
was
right.
surprised that there's.
Yeah,
that
I know.
many.
How many times did you, it's sort of funny when you get to
10 so far,
clean
11,
up old things,
12.
sometimes you think, what does this mean,
12 of them.
Okay. So now we have to move on to the next item, which is the Unsheltered Advisory Committee recommendations. And so that's now on 8B, page 18. And this is, you saw the longer report of recommendations, but these two items are what have been put forth as kind of some specific things to help mitigate and reduce the impacts of camping of unsheltered residents. So Gary or Sarah, do either one of you guys want to just provide a description of this to help us understand better what's proposed?
What page are you on?
I'm on page
6.
18.
Oh, 18. I was on 16.
And we can discuss the other things also if you want to discuss further, but I was just moving us along.
So we had, and jump right in, because we met with Terry and who kind of, with Ray's, and Toby, who represents the neighborhood. And we discussed an end-to-end. Was there to discuss how can we mitigate the impacts now on the neighborhoods and Ray's? Well, And so we came up with the fencing, and End-to-End is willing to pay for this and do the work. They will have to work with Ray's. So we're just talking about on city property. And we would like to have some fencing on the front, allow End-to-End to put some fencing
On the east side.
on the east side. And that will help, some of the people that are coming through, they won't be able to see. Not only will the public not be able to see, and Ray's wants this, that they won't be able to see, there's the place with camping allowed and encourage part-timers, let's say, to partake in this. And so we feel that this is overall, we're looking for another place if that's, but that's going to take some time. So this is sort of interim mitigation for the neighborhood and for Ray's, and for the city. So we feel that the fencing would be something that the city should allow them to do. The other thing is to have a smaller dumpster, either at 16th, because if you have people there at night, if we have trash, End-to-End's willing to maintain that dumpster, take trash and put it in the dumpster, have it locked. We thought about putting it in the yard with the city or putting it in some other place. And the folks that are coming with their own vehicles to pick up would, from that area, don't want to just put it in their truck it somewhere else when they could just, and put it in a dumpster when they can just put it in the dumpster there for now. Might not, once our time, place, and manner, works and the place is cleaned up, we might not even need the dumpster there. That might be it, maybe we move it somewhere else, End-to-End moves it somewhere else where they can, if they're going around picking up trash. So those are the two issues or two things that we would like to recommend. And we would need city's approval to allow them to put a fence up. And then of course they would look at, you wouldn't have to do anything, but probably you'd want to design, look and see what we're putting up on that property, their city property. And so we feel that this is an interim. It'll help mitigate that impact to the neighbors and to Ray's for right now. Terry's all for it. Toby thought that was a good idea as well. And so
Further.
that's our recommendation.
Yeah,
If you
I
wanna
think it's a real fluid situation. So I think if we just keep evaluating each month and both End-to-End will be monitoring and the advisory committee, and we'll meet at least once a month to see how things are going to that point. And
Okay, so the key thing is locked dumpster, so nobody can be dumping their stuff in there. And the key thing is that End-to-End will pay for these things.
we'll be looking for grants. We've applied for some, but we won't know until September.
And
So,
End-to-End's gonna do all the grant work themselves.
Yeah.
They've already.
There won't be
yeah, they've
anything
already
on the
submitted
city.
Just a question.
Yep.
No, that's good.
so the other thing is I thought it was like not going to be on the 16th Street right away, that it was going to be somewhere else, but I can understand why they would want it there, but
Yeah, until, yeah. And
So
hopefully it should be, the amount of trash should diminish if everything is kept up. But that, after, we thought it would be good to put it, but in talking to the End-to-End, the folks that are going to be doing the pickup, that since this might be the place that they would, initially we might have to pick up trash. If we could place it there, down on Idaho, kind of at an angle at the bottom, so the truck can come in and beep.
Yeah, the trash comes from there. It should be, that'd be like, the city of Port Orford having a dumpster, at Ray's. Makes no sense. But anyway, I think that's a right of way almost up to the back of Ray's, so it could probably be set somewhere close to that dumpster. I mean, the garbage company's gonna tell you what they want you to do
What,
anyway.
where to put it, right?
Yeah.
Another thought when we were talking about maybe not having it right there is that we do have a small level dumpster here at City Hall that's pretty small. If maybe to save money, if we wanted to put it here, it doesn't solve them not putting it in the back of their pickup and
Right.
moving it somewhere. But we already pay for a small dumpster, so maybe if they wanted to pay whatever the difference is between what we pay for a small dumpster and get a bigger one here, that we have a key, they have a key to
They
throw it
really
in
don't want to
here.
be.
They don't want to haul it at all.
Yeah,
So,
I don't
okay,
mind
so
it.
that's, no, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
They
Again, I
just,
thought you
know,
wanted it
we thought
off
was
was the
good.
last
We
time I had
offered
heard.
that. We
Yeah.
talked about that. We did
Yeah.
talk about all those
Okay.
options.
Okay.
So we thought,
A crummy trailer or something.
but they just, they're they're
Yeah,
paying
they-
for it and they're doing the work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, and
Um,
it seems like it's, I mean, I don't know, it just seems like if the garbage is produced there, it should be picked up there.
and the only
Easier
thing
for
that,
everybody.
right, and the only thing I would say is with one of the first line on our right-of-way permit paperwork says, are you the adjacent landowner to be able to get a right-of-way permit? My thought would be Rays would be willing to be the ones that would apply for the right-of-way permit to put up the fence and to put the dumpster in that area. I mean, it's our property, so this is a weird one.
Yeah.
So I assume we could do it. We could approve it as the city
Well, yeah, given that it's a right, I mean, we talked about, should it be a right of way permit thing, or would this have to be a memorandum of understanding? Because, and I think it has to be a memorandum of understanding because we're basically allowing them to do it. And then, there's got to be some definition in there of why we're doing it, what we're doing, and what happens if the parties dissolve, like, if end to end goes away.
Well, and then the grant that they got, 20,000, 10,000, whatever it was, we thought that was all gonna go to the dumpster, remember? But that was only for a few months.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be coming quick, that whole.
Right.
Right? Am I right about that? I think I'm right about that, Gary.
There's a
There was something about
$20,000
it.
grant.
They got a grant, but they wanted to use some of it for the weekly meal.
Yeah,
Right.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't all for
Right,
this.
right.
Yes.
So it's
Well,
for
and
the
we've
matter
got
of months.
grants that have been written and are in the hopper now.
Okay.
And I talked to the CEO of Curry Health Networks, and she almost guaranteed $5,000.
Was that Jenny Rizzo? Was that that?
Yeah, but now she's Williams.
Oh, yeah.
So the fence, if it's put on a property line, is a good neighbor fence.
Right.
And
Well, it's supposed to be a good neighbor
This
fence.
would be across kind of the front, so from the parking lot, you couldn't look in.
I think from what you described to me, that Rays would put up a lot. I mean, Rays would be either on the hook to put up their own fence or to work with end to end to put up a fence.
Right.
So, but that's not, if they put
That's
it
not
on their
us.
property,
That's
it's
right.
not on us.
Right,
not
it's
us.
Ray's then.
So the
It sounds like
city-
Ray's landlord is really hard for them to work with, so Terry wasn't sure how that would go.
I hate to saddle them with the burden of dealing with our.
Yeah, the way I understood it, N2N was going to do that.
Yeah,
fence.
end to end
Well,
would
they
have
would
to
do
work
it,
with
but
Rays.
They have to
But
work.
they have to work with
on
Rays
their
to make, on
property,
their
but
property.
Unless we decide we want to have them put it on our property instead of Rays.
The fence.
It's a property line, which is why I called it a good neighbor fence.
You put it a foot on our side.
It probably
You know,
won't.
You could put it on the line,
If
actually.
they're, well, if they're gonna get, we gotta get surveyed, who's gonna pay for that? I wonder.
Then you're better off coming a foot
Yeah.
on where you think the mark is.
It's pretty easy to tell from the corner of the parking lot. You
Well,
just
I
look
thought that
down.
one time too, and I had to dig up my whole water
If you
line.
look at the GIS map and it's
The GIS.
pretty
map-
obvious where
The
the.
GIS
That
map is
GS
wrong.
is wrong.
You have to
Yeah.
you have to go and find the actual.
It's not wrong.
survey.
It's like just accurate within 10 feet.
10 feet's a lot.
Yeah, well, my property, my personal property, we are in the river.
Yeah.
It shows that our
It's-
house is in the river.
It's tax lots is
Yeah.
what that map is. So that's not a good map. It has to be, but there's a way that,
We
you
have
know,
Corner
Greg
pins.
shows, there's a way you go and find the other survey maps down at the county and then you can figure out, where the corner pins are and measure it.
Only one corner. That helps.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, I
Um,
found one corner.
Yeah.
Usually you need two.
So,
Well, there was 6 corners. Wait, yeah, 6.
Oh, I wasn't square rectangle.
I thought there was 4.
okay, so we have two components of a proposal before us, but we're also talking about now another component, which is fine. Because I think the nature of this recommendation is that we make a recommendation. I think it's going to be, we're going to have to make a recommendation to staff of like, yes, this is good. Please work on a memorandum of understanding to make sure, you know, it's not just like, go do it. It's like, we got to like figure out the process. And I hate
And-
to add something to your list, but hopefully.
The other thing is, I know you folks asked me to do some research and talk to insurance companies and what's our liability and also to our lawyer. So I've done that. The thing that came across, and so I feel like I need to say this because it's what we found, was that, one, the only thing the city is legally bound to do is to allow them to be on the land. So that is what the city legally has to do. So any other measures to mitigate or to do all that stuff is not necessarily what the city is legally required to do. Also, when you do these mitigation measures, it's easier, it's less liability for the city to not start them than it is to have a precedent that has been set, that if then that stops, then the city has shown the precedent to provide this measure.
We talked about that.
And so, full disclosure, I wanted to put that out, that as that, but also that if we are going to enter into something or have something like this to happen, that we already have our heinies hanging out because we're already allowing people to be there. So that ship has sailed. But also, if we have an MOU that spells this out of what we're willing to do, that is more protective than to just not have anything.
Right, and one of the things I'd like to mention on that is let's say we have, the dumpster, okay?
Yeah, let's use
Yeah.
that for an example.
This is all being put on by end to end. So if the dumpster goes away, it is not the city taking the dumpster. It is end to end.
However, it is though, because if it's on our property and it is a measure that has been given on our property and we've allowed it to be on our property, when it is removed, there is a level of liability or expectation that the city continue with that. Even though it was originally paid for by someone else.
But this is what I would think we could ask the lawyer. If we had an MOU that said, if we could frame it as we are supporting partners to mitigate the impacts of this situation, we're not providing anything. We're supporting their effort. I mean, if they go upside down in 2 years or 1 year, and we have to take that dumpster away, I mean, the dumpster is not even going to be open to people. It's going to be.
And that's why I think in some ways.
Never given to them.
If it was not on that property, if it was somewhere else and the volunteers are they're just picking trash up, that's what they're doing, and it went to somewhere else and it wasn't seen as a mitigating measure that was there,
Like
then.
if it was on end to end's property.
So we are not,
They don't have
we are
property.
not
so-
providing a dumpster for
Right.
anybody. The city is not.
Right.
End to end
End
is.
to end is providing a dumpster. I honestly don't see how we can get in trouble for that.
Right,
I
unless
think
we
it's
talk, I would like to pose that question that way to the attorney. I mean, if end to end if some other entity provides it and then takes it away.
You know what they say.
But if we're in an agreement with them,
Well, we can get sued for anything.
Anything.
that's the
where
key.
it could get tricky, because I know the city of Grants Pass got themselves in a
Yep.
lot of trouble on, I think, a second or third lawsuit. They provided a gravel parking lot
That's right.
with a fence, and it wasn't ADA, and it was hard to walk on, and people couldn't sleep on gravel, and they really got themselves in a mess. So you are absolutely correct. The more we do, the more liability we assume. I don't know in this dumpster thing, because we are not allowing a dumpster for the unhoused. We are allowing a dumpster for a voluntary group that cleans up for the unhoused.
Right.
So I think we're covered that way, but
Do they have any trash receptacle?
No.
No. But it's really hard to scold someone about their trash when they have limited resources and no receptacle.
Well, and
We
the,
do provide a receptacle out by
have
the, well, we do in the raised parking lot, kind of out by the bus place, but it's
Just
a
a round
small,
barrel.
it's just a round barrel. That's what we pay for there.
And it'll get filled up with by the tourists and
And all the people that
Maybe
go.
we make that one bigger. I mean, I don't know.
but then it would just be more people dumping trash, like city people dumping their trash, like, residents.
that's what they're
Right.
doing now along with.
And that's
Yeah,
what
it's kind of a
Terry
weird,
said.
why do we even have that one there?
Because it's something about, because we have the bus
stop, you have to have-
stop, yes, that it's something we provide at the bus stop.
Yeah,
Because
and
that's
Terry
our,
says the whole neighborhood uses his dumpster
because it's not locked.
because it's not locked.
Tuesday night.
So we'll lock
Right.
ours.
So the other thing, I mean, that's kind of along those lines of what you're saying, Brett, is that, especially now with like whatever kleptosporidia or whatever it is. So like if you're not having a place for people to put their trash, then,
Yeah.
it's like you could be, you could also be, one could suggest you're liable there because you're not providing a way
You're
for
saying
people to,
Yeah, you have to be here,
sanitary,
but you
but-
can't get rid of your trash.
Right.
but I think the secret of this, or the trick to threading this line of trying to mitigate the issue, is to try to get an MOU that does what you're saying, that says we're not providing it. We're going to allow this voluntary 501c3 whose mission is X to mitigate this damage or to mitigate these impacts by placing a locked dumpster that only they can access, or, like some way where we try to.
And I don't
Hope it can
see
happen, but
how we can get away with having a designated camp without having a toilet. I mean, that's just beyond my comprehension.
The state made us do what we have done.
Just to
This
put it
is,
place.
this is the state law.
But I'm just saying, we're just saying to poop on that property.
No, well, no, but the state says we have to give the unhoused a place to rest their heads. That's the state
And to
ordinance.
eat. Mhm.
It doesn't go into the potty and all that other drinking.
But reality
water.
is reality.
Well,
Right now, we're just talking fence and dumpster.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, let's,
It would be nice.
Yeah, let's not go there.
point of order.
There should be a receptacle and a porta potty and probably some retaining fence that would keep the trash from blowing into that wetland right there, probably. I mean, to be.
A
This
designated
is just the
camp. I
first
mean,
step.
Yeah, well, I think the idea is you take this step and you see what happens. I think the whole theory here of what we're trying to do with this advisory committee is we take a step and we see, does that help? And then if it helps, then maybe we consider the next step. Or maybe we don't. We just kind of like do a baby step.
baby steps and
If we enforce the ordinance though, it looks, there's nobody gonna be there. And we knew that. I
Well,
think.
they're going over to, so if anybody
the
just
problem.
thinks
This is
it's
the
a
issue. This
raised
is the
right
issue.
away, that is the unhoused camp, they're sadly mistaken. Because it's all the way over to Coastal Swag. There's a restroom that we approved that was supposed to be in a right of way years ago, and it's in somebody's yard now.
Oh, yeah.
And there's folks all the way over to there,
All through the.
all
trees.
through that,
There
yes.
it is.
And even on the 4th of July, there were bundles of people's belongings
On the sidewalk.
on the sidewalks out front. I stopped at the Coastal Swag, so I know.
So I
no, I went
I think
down
this is a point to bring up to the Unsheltered Advisory Committee because, I mean, I think, what's been said is if we enforce the time, place and manner, if people are moving everywhere else, we have to evaluate, is that a good thing? Is that what we want? Or do we want people back there and in one place or in some other place? In
because
one
they're going to
place?
be around. If they're not on that property, they're going to be
Well,
in town.
they've been on this area I spoke of for since we allowed this to happen. They haven't stayed right there. Many of those, that's why that guy's got the restroom in his house.
And that's point well taken. I think, I mean, we need to look at all the unhoused, but right now the committee just looked at the 16th Street right away.
Because that's what we have,
That's what people
the
were concerned
state
with.
says we have to do.
Right. So but and that doesn't mean we can't evaluate the
Absolutely.
wetlands or whatever. We're going to try to evaluate how this time,
More
place,
bigger
and
and
manner.
better things.
Right.
Right now, we just need to,
And we may evaluate it and say these time, place, and manner things aren't working. We do want people to be in one place, and that's where they're gonna have to be, or we don't know what's gonna happen yet.
it's
So
a
I think
changing
it's,
animal, like Gary said, it's.
And
if-
it's here to stay. I mean,
it-
this is
It's
a
not solved in
perpetual-
any city in the United States.
In the summertime.
and
And
it's summertime.
and that's kind of the time we have to manage the most for, because that's when the most people, the most trash. And, as Gary said, we have some people that have mental illness, including hoarding. So we have, trash is kind of a bigger part of it for our particular situation.
And we can, end to end is willing to go in and kind of map out that property and create 10 by 10 space, whatever the size of the, each camp.
Per
And that
unit,
they,
yeah.
and will come to the council with proposed rules that they need to keep everything within those boundaries.
And I put that on the rules that needs to be within 2 feet of their camping area. That is up there, and that they're not to harm the native vegetation and not to leave trash and things like that. So those are posted. That's part of your ordinance, or part of the rules that we had discussed already. So I put those on there.
It is on raised property, so it kind of looks, and Terry approved that.
Correct.
That he didn't really realize that.
Right.
it's-
Because we did
It's making his property look like the camp.
right.
Well, maybe that needs to be moved then as
At
part
some
of the
point, I think
fence
when the
thing.
fence goes up, that might be where it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we could try to make the fence into an art project down the road and
Yeah, if it,
turn it into a little picnic area or something in front of the.
What I remember was when and I don't mean they in a disparaging way, when this class of our citizens were dispersed, we didn't have these ills that we seem to be addressing. And I just don't know.
I think the thing, Brett, I understand what you're saying, is that I think we used to have like 3 or 4 people. I mean, you can name them that we knew the names of, like Kenny, Danny, Dan,
Yeah, yeah.
Eric, and that people would help them, or the ladies at the bank help them. And there was a small enough number of people that the community kind of embraced them and helped them. And now we have more people, and we have some that have these heavy duty mental health issues that have been maybe abandoned by their families or are separated, estranged would be the better word.
So the volume is what you're suggesting?
I think the volume, I mean, I
And
don't,
some people have lost their places
Yeah.
Right.
that have been here for a long time, but now their car broke down, they lost their job. Now they're in their broken down car, and then they're in a tent. And we definitely in the summer have transients that are just coming through. So we feel like the fence would keep them from having an easy place to see that they could go camp right next to the market. I mean, it's so convenient right there.
yeah, but they can't go in the market evidently.
No,
Terry?
I'm talking about the transients,
Oh, yeah.
because
right.
we're kind of alluring them into that spot.
Yeah.
And,
but the primary thing, screening fence, is it's a mitigation for the community so that the community doesn't have to see it and create a space so that there's less, if people had concerns about it, right? We're trying to mitigate some of the concerns that
The
have
citizens'
been
concerns.
raised. A little bit. We're not solving the problem. We're just trying to do a minor mitigation.
Seems like we should buy old Terry a 12-pack of beer or something, man. I mean, that guy's really,
Well, that's true. That's true because I travel the coast quite frequently, and I think we're the only city on the coast that has a camp beside the main grocery store.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it sounds like part of the committee's recommendations, if you read the full recommendations, is that they regard it as a priority to look for another place. So
Oh,
this
I
is the
understand that.
temporary
Yeah.
thing.
Yep.
So,
We have to just week by week and month by month and.
Exactly.
so I would entertain a motion to approve the direction of these actions and direct staff to work on an MOU. And maybe that's something that counselors and the committee could help craft so
Can
that
help.
it goes before the attorney. We have to have all of that happen, I think, before we could say yes. It's this would be a motion of moving in that direction.
Direct staff to pursue goals laid out by the recommendation. That was my motion.
With the expectation to get an.
Do you have idea, Joseph?
So I have motion to approve the direction of the actions as stated in the agenda item and direct staff to draft an MOU with end-to-end prior to legal consultation.
So moved.
Prior to, wait,
That's what I heard
Draft
from the mayor was you
Draft
guys wanted to look at it before we went to the legal stuff.
I don't think we have to look at it. I would think the staff, Melissa could draft it, have
the attorney look
have
at
the
it.
attorney look at it and then bring back to
We want the
us
final product.
what,
But with end-to-ends input, like what they
Yeah.
are proposing,
Right.
right?
It's right here. There's two
Yeah, this is what
items.
they're proposing.
Right.
Yeah, that seems reasonable to me.
It would
That's,
be-
then I will move to that, what he said.
With the amendment of, it is in draft an MOU with end-to-end with legal consultation, not prior to.
So moved.
I'll second it.
any further discussion? Okay, I'll call for the vote. Counselor Rask,
Yes.
Counselor Lovendall,
Yes.
Counselor Webb,
Webb, yes.
Counselor Pogwizd,
Tim, yes.
Counselor Burns,
Yes.
Counselor Brennan.
No.
Thank you.
I really like the idea of having a fence there. You guys, I own a business that has tourists and that's the number one complaint.
Is it really?
Absolutely.
Well, hopefully it
And some
will,
of the people are afraid to go there and there has been incidents there. Hopefully there won't be more. So,
Is it well lit?
uh,
I wonder if lighting's something that that you guys might want to tackle in your next meeting or
You're
something.
killing me.
You're gonna kill
this
it.
is in daylight, Brett.
Gonna kill her.
This is in daylight, in the sun.
Oh.
People doing things they shouldn't be doing and making people very uncomfortable. So.
there's a lot of things that go on that, night, day, I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things we can't control, so. Okay. Now we're moving on to new business. We did 9A already. Now we have 9B, which I believe is a very minor, kind of a Scrivener's error. Melissa or Joseph, do you want to explain that to us?
So with all the resolutions the council passed last month when we were doing, when all of you were reviewing the budget resolutions, there was a small Scrivener's error in one of the resolutions. It needs to be corrected before we can, before we get audited for the year. All the financial documents used the correct wages for the staff that had the incorrect wages listed. The only changes are correcting the wages and getting a worker on there who was not on that list. I also reordered the police officers, but didn't change anything else other than getting them actually police officer number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, instead of the order it was in before, which was like 5, 3, 2, 4.
Motion to approve resolution 27-02.
Second.
Isn't it 01? It's actually resolution, it's 27.
Oh, yeah, I meant to bring that up before I did that. I'm reading off the,
Agenda?
yes.
Oh, yes, right. So
So
which is the correct one, Joseph?
I've got to find
The
it
agenda
again.
says 1 and then the packet says
It's
another.
page
Says
20.
Resolution 2701 should be correct.
Wait.
Which is,
The
So-
agenda says-
Are we in 27?
no, yes, it changes with the fiscal year.
Oh, okay, all right.
And that's
So-
what's hard.
Wait.
Resolutions change
didn't
with the
know that.
fiscal year. Ordinances go with the calendar
Well,
year.
no, they both go with-
go.
And they aren't sequential, so they each have their own listing. So we could deal with resolution 2701 and ordinance
I did
2701.
not, I thought we did it with the calendar year on those.
So this would be 01 then, right?
So it looks confusing. It is 20,
7-02.
Which
Yeah.
one is it?
it should be 20, oh, it should be 2701 correcting 2613.
Right, because it's
That's what's-
a resolution
Not-
rather than an ordinance.
So 2701 was our marijuana facility ban.
That's the ordinance.
Ordinance
Oh,
2701.
I understand, yeah. Those things drive me nuts.
I know.
And this is why we make mistakes, because it's like so minutia. It gets so much into the weeds and you think
So-
you get them all and then we
I
don't.
withdraw my motion then.
So can you restate your motion?
I can. I would motion that we approve resolution 27-01, correcting wages in the resolution from 26-13.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any further discussion?
I did catch that earlier, but that was like an hour and a half ago. I forgot, but I wanted to ask about that.
Okay, I will call for the vote. Counselor Brennan,
Yes.
Counselor Burns.
Yes.
Counselor Pogwizd,
Tim, yes.
Counselor Webb,
Web, yes.
Counselor Lovendall,
Yes.
Counselor Rask.
Yes.
Okay. So now we have 9C, which is the resolution prohibiting automated surveillance, which was put forth by Counselor Webb, who just requested to put it onto the agenda. So would you like to just, it goes without saying, but would you like to just
Yeah,
briefly
well,
state why you think this is
I've
important?
just been keeping an eye on things nationally, and these things are costing cities a lot of money. And there's, we talk about our staffing issues. The north and center part of Port Orford, according to DOT, Oregon Department of Transportation, is transited by between 4,800 and 5,200 vehicles per day. And if half of those people came and asked for a FOIA, made a FOIA request, we would have to give them, I could come in and say, I would like to, and that's just on the money side of it, our ability to produce what would be our obligation. So I don't see any reason to believe that we could handle that load. That would be 2,000 FOIA requests per day. You could, and that's a tactic that's being taken and employed by opponents of type of surveillance. So that's just that piece of it. I don't think we could handle that. Now, from my perspective, it's investigating every single American that hasn't committed a crime. And then the artificial intelligence creates this profile, and they can tell you that this guy goes to this church, he's a member of this political party, and so is this person because he picks him up, he goes to a gay bar. That's the type of thing that AI puts together. It's not just a camera looking at somebody going by and saying, oh, there's the speeder, or there's the guy that shot the guy, or, it's not necessarily that. It's this, and then we don't own that. It's in private hands, and nobody knows, what can be done with that. It's privately owned, and that's where I think they're getting away with it right now, is because it's a private partnership.
Yeah.
And
One of the
there's
things-
just a lot of stuff. You heard Clark.
Yeah.
I mean, Clark is,
He's an expert, so that was
he's an expert.
was great that he came to testify.
Right.
I think it's really interesting because a couple of years ago, I think it was early on when I was a counselor, we of course had a citizen proposal to do this because of concern about speeding. And I think what's become clear in just the past couple of years, because we were open to it, although you raised the
I didn't
issue
like it,
then,
yeah.
but we just said, well, let's look at it. Within the past couple of years, the AI component and the mass surveillance components, all this has become much greater than we could have even thought of a couple of years ago. So I think this is super
And the data center
important.
piece of it
Yes.
is a big thing
Yeah.
too. I
Right.
mean, we've heard about the data centers, the pollution, the water,
taking all the energy.
consumption of the
yeah, yeah.
energy.
Cities
Okay.
are dropping this all over the
Yeah.
country.
They are. It's
There's-
really not a very popular, they're being sued.
Some of them after 4 and 5 months
Yeah.
are dropping these programs.
Okay. So I had a question about this I wanted to ask, which is, when I looked up Flock Safety Networks, it kind of sounds like it's a private company or a private. So I was just wondering, should we have that in our ordinance, like the name of the private company, or should we just have it as a generic, like, whereas
Automated
mass surveillance
relies
technology,
on, just
yeah.
take that out.
just take out the name of the company? You know what I mean? Like, for example, in that second whereas, to say, whereas automated mass surveillance technology relies
I
on.
think Flock, because it's the largest.
But there could be other,
There could be others.
Well, I think it
I
says.
think there already
Or
is.
others.
There are,
Such as-
there's many
such
others,
as.
yeah.
It says such as. I
Let's
just,
say such as.
I was just wondering because, like recently we had that other, we had, in another ordinance, we had the name of Coast Community Health and then we had to change it, like that. And having a company in your
Yeah.
ordinance, just
Yeah,
a
no,
little
I
bit
agree.
weird. So I just was raising that.
That's a good point.
Any other questions or concerns or?
So this would
things
apply
people
to
would like
anybody that wanted to do any kind of
Right.
surveillance. Because I know one year
Well,
I had a citizen approach us that wanted to put I don't know if it was a counter or a camera down at Battle Rock Park
We
to
have
see
a
how
counter down
many
there.
There's a
people were
so I
going.
think
They-
that that's. a
Counter
little bit
now, you
different
have a
because they're not
counter now.
storing data.
They do it now. I got a
That's not-
report.
They're not doing data.
That's
That's
not,
different.
yeah, that's
Right.
just counting it so that they can say,
How
oh,
many
we had
people walk by?
That's for
10,000
grants.
visitors.
Right, remember the black rubber thing that goes across the road and you go over
No,
it?
I know that, but I I don't remember it being presented that way. So,
This is,
anyway.
this is for grants and they can say that so many people come in a day.
It's the visitor center,
Heaviest-
the visitor
it's
center.
The heaviest
But
used wayside in the state
But
of
that's
Oregon.
not, that's like generic
That
data.
is-
That's just
oh.
counting. It's
Yeah.
not.
I did not know that.
Yep.
It could be
Yeah.
whatever walks by the counter.
Well, I'll move to pass resolution 27-02 prohibiting automated surveillance.
A
Second,
second.
As amended.
First and
With-
second, any further
as amended?
discussion?
As
Well,
amended?
I just, am- I-
Oh,
we.
As
she-
amended
we-
to take flock out of.
Yep.
Take the flock out.
Second. Such as Flock, a safety network. Okay.
Okay, so we've got a first and a second. Any further discussion?
I'd just like to thank Counselor Webb because, we know about all this stuff in the background and sometimes we just forget to bring it forward. And I think this is pretty important, actually.
Definitely.
Yeah, 100% agreed, because we're
We're out on the
working on a lot of
forefront
the,
This too. It's.
a lot of the, in the weeds, and so it's good to
Because
have.
Coos has got 4 or 5, I think, and Brookings is,
Yeah, Coos Bay has 4, I think, but it's good for us, the state that's doing it. It could bring some interesting situations, but,
Okay, so we've got a first and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, I will call for the vote. Counselor Rask,
Yes.
Counselor Lovendall,
Yes.
Counselor Webb,
yes.
Counselor Pogwizd,
Tim, yes.
Counselor Burns,
yes.
Counselor Brennan.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, and then we had 9D, which is this letter of support for the life jacket kiosk. We don't really need to do because basically Ashley just got permission from ODFW. So that one we can remove, which means we've finally gotten to the end of our business.
You added one, I believe, too, didn't you?
One
Oh,
more.
yes.
E.
Oh, gosh.
One you
Thank
added.
So much. I
Yes.
added on my
Minutes.
other
That was
thing.
our minutes.
Thank you.
Didn't we
Yes.
do that already?
9E.
Accidentally?
No.
Oh,
The new minutes.
The new minutes.
These are, yes,
What we just
for
talked about.
purposes of moving forward on the grant proposal for the construction of the raw water tank, we have to approve the minutes for this one hearing within tonight's meeting. So if you could review those right now and make sure they're accurate.
Joseph,
I marked down one thing that needs minor correcting. In the last paragraph, it says these minutes only cover the public hearing for the community or CD
Oh, no.
grant and the associated resolution, and the associated resolution should be struck
Yeah.
because there's no resolution associated with this particular hearing.
Yes, right, yeah.
so I'll move to
Oh, on the
approve
back.
the minutes
With the change.
for the block grant with the changes.
I'll second that.
Okay, we've got a first and a second. Any further discussion? I will call for the vote. Counselor Rask,
Yes.
Counselor Lovendall,
Yes.
Counselor Webb,
Webb, yes.
Counselor Pogwiz,
Tim, yes.
Counselor Burns,
Yes.
Counselor Brennan.
Yes.
Okay. So with that,
Lehigh happy.
we move on to considerations. First up is citizen considerations. Do we have any citizens online who would like to make a comment, 3-minute public comment?
I am not seeing anybody message or raise their hand.
Okay.
Double check that.
Nope, the only message in there was from when we first went to recess.
Okay. Hearing none, there's nobody in the room to make a comment, so we will move on to staff considerations. Any staff considerations?
No, I'm good.
Okay. I would just say that I had a really good time winging candy at kids and doing that at the 4th of July parade. That was a hoot and a half. And
Those photos?
I did get the photos. Thank you very much. Yes. I have decided though that Ryan's kid can be the one dangling off the side of the thing, and I'm going to sit inside and do that. I was like, what is this?
And there's a set of duels like 10 feet away if you were going to slip.
Yes. So I
Top like an elephant.
yeah, well, we talked about somewhere else on the back, but then he was like, oh, I don't like that because if you fall off, I can't see you and whatever else. So I did feel like I needed a harness to do it, but no, I held on real good. But
You did good.
it was great. And I just really, it was so fun and just seeing all the people out and all that. I know that the Jubilee Committee works really, really hard, and I appreciate everything that they did to celebrate that and do that. And also for us, particularly Ryan, on our staff, Ryan Sibley,
He was
is a
awesome.
big 4th of July guy, like it's his most favorite holiday. And he was super tickled to be able to do that. And so it was great. So thank you.
Appreciate the 4th of July when you're in the parade or watching right there.
Yeah.
It was nice seeing the counselors.
Yeah, the counselors did a good job.
You
Yeah.
were you there?
We were
you,
handing
Tim?
out necklaces.
He did it.
I was watching from
I walked the whole way. I got
side.
one necklace. That's
It
rough.
was so weird to be in it.
Where were you, Tim?
Because you sit there and you don't realize how many people are,
And this was.
and
the
you're like
longest
seeing all
parade
these people.
We've had in years.
Yeah,
It was a lot of
besides just.
people.
first
Weather was
responders.
beautiful. The
Yeah.
flyover was cool. Like it was cool.
It was
Almost
definitely
as
good.
a flyover in Pensacola today or yesterday.
Okay, so thank you. That was really fun. Agreed.
It was.
Any other considerations from counselors?
And you must be doing a good job because there's nobody out here.
I don't know. I
That's
guess-
that's the way I measure it too. It's-
Yeah,
All of us. I think we,
yeah, I
Yes.
agree with you on that. I was
It-
gonna
it-
say that, but
but also we've taken we've taken the charge of transparency and righting wrongs, and people, it's showing.
We're trying to right wrongs and make fix
yes, we are.
problems and whatever. And
We're taking a few on the chin, but I think that's what we needed to do.
trying. Any other considerations? I'll just mention, I'm going to bring this next time. I can't even believe it. I felt a little discombobulated tonight, but I made this along those lines, Brett. I made a graph related to the audit that kind of reviews our finances. And because the audit had this statement that says, look at your financial position. That's like the pulse that helps you to understand it. So I graphed it, and it was definitely like like we're coming back up. So it just really made me feel good. And I literally meant to bring it tonight and I didn't bring it, but I'm going to bring it next time because I think it'll make you guys feel good too, that a lot of this stuff, which is hard work that the staff is doing, that we're doing together to try to solve problems, is
That you are doing daily.
we're all, that
Yeah.
that it is that we are doing good things. And so it makes me feel better. I mean, I never thought I'd be like happy about an audit, or nerd out enough to spend
That's the
time
boring
on an
stuff,
audit to like graph the data in an audit, but it's important. So it represents the work that we're doing. So anyway, just want to thank you all for
Thank you.
your engagement and working together, as a team and sharing different ideas and perspectives, and then working together. So thank
And
you all.
I would also say that one of the things at the conference was people who have, a lot of it was about, staff and council relations and mayor and staff and council relations and different things that have come up. And it made me feel like, oh,
We're smooth here.
yeah,
But that's this class.
yeah.
This
So
class is
I
smooth. I mean,
appreciate you.
We've
I've
seen some
seen
stuff.
it, yeah.
So thank you.
Come a long
We've seen
ways.
stuff, But hopefully I think it goes to show though, that as we work together well, we can accomplish things. A lot of other times people can just get into disputes and not get anywhere. So there's a lot of things so much work we have to do. And so we can just keep plugging along on it. I'm hopeful. And I'm really excited about looking forward to the fall and turning some dials in some of these projects we've been really working on for a long time. So.
I do like that idea of the whistleblower program for
Yes.
our staff.
Yeah.
And I guess it could include counselors, of course. You could fire us.
Yeah.
Like,
We don't
please.
have as much to lose though. So anyway, I think that was a good idea and that's something we probably should talk about or explore in the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're
That's
right.
what I was hoping he would tell us what were some of the ways that we mitigate our risk. I mean, what were some of the things
Yeah.
that we should have in place?
That was item 2, or you can have a professional risk assessment. And I'm thinking to myself, well, that'll be
Good
like
night, nurse.
No,
$30,000, please, So
Yeah, I know.
we
He
need
said
the-
that. I was like, well, no,
We need the
maybe.
shoestring
Yeah.
approach, but.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think part of that is spending money on a full finance director or looking at those things. I mean, that's the piece that if that's really if that's the part that we need to have, then that would be the piece that we need to work at
We're gonna
setting
get there.
aside money
Work
for it.
toward.
And we're working toward it. And I think we're good with Kaitolas. I'm not
Oh, yeah.
saying that,
Right.
but
But they're
that's
not gonna
that
be
extra
there
layers.
forever.
No, and
If
it's
we
the
can't
extra layers.
Go through all the contracts after contracts. We need to get somebody we can get in place and be
help
part of
with
the team
grants
and-
That would be
help.
amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And just the managing of the grants and the checking the things, because that's what just
Yeah.
grinds.
And I think, if we can ask Leaf if there's more that he can do,
Mhm.
maybe he can't, maybe there is more he can do from now that he's becoming more intimately connected to our budget and our audit. And if he's doing monthly reports, he'll like grok it a lot
Mhm.
better,
Seem like good people.
Yeah.
They are
Yeah,
good
I'm
people.
really impressed. You
I'm
did
very
great.
impressed. Yep.
Did great hiring those people, Melissa.
Thank you.
Okay, excellent. So we are going to adjourn this meeting at 8:17. Thank you all. Have a good evening.